You damn right. Hope everybody is having a good Friday, the first Friday of March. First and foremost, we hope everybody is safe and sound. After last night, winds blew through, rain blew through. For some, it was just a thunderstorm. For some, it might have been a tornado. We hope that you are doing well today. And everybody you care about is doing well today. It's Chad and Zay on this Friday. A lot of stuff to get into, including, the guy that wrote it literally taking a step back. We'll get to that. I'm Chad Hastings, joined as always by Isaiah Collier. Zay, I hope everything is safe in your neck of the woods. What's up?
Yeah, we were all good up north. How are y'all?
Pretty good. My neighbor across the way did have a big section of fence go down. It sounded like a cannon went off in that neighborhood, and we couldn't figure out what it was for a while. Thought it was out back at first. I step out front, big section, and then some of the guttering came down, the downspout and everything. Yeah, that was pretty scary. Thankfully, our fence, stayed good. We kind of ended up on the back side of things.
Right.
And then the rain, we didn't end up with a ton of rain. So we kind of ended up on the back side a little bit. I talked to my buddy in Georgetown. My man Rick Sacamano was in the middle of it for a second. They lost power for a while, but they were all right. So we hope everybody is good. I feel for those people that, maybe just got a new roof. Yeah. And then something happens. Or we obviously, everybody just went through this tree thing where everything's falling down, so hopefully you didn't get things that are even worse. We've still got tree limbs all over our neighborhood that haven't been picked up.
Oh, yeah.
People are trying to figure out, hey, is the city coming to pick these up?
That's going to go all the way to the summer, it feels like.
Like, what is the deal here? I feel like a lot of mayors are getting contacted about that. So we hope everybody is good. We go into another big sports weekend. The Combine started yesterday, and Zay and I, we got pulled in. I know a lot of you did too. We'll talk about that. But first, Zay, we got to talk about this updated story for the Longhorn football team. Today, there's a lot of threes in the date as it is 3/3/23, but it's also 3 days till spring practice begins. And last night, among all the weather stuff, a story drops about Gary Patterson deciding to, yes, I know, make your jokes, take a step back and hang with the family, chill out with his foundation, which he says, he put on hold to come hang with Sark. Gary Patterson stepping away from the job, the analyst job at Texas. For you, Zay, as a fan, where does this story hit for you? What level of concern does it bring you? Were you one of those fans that thought of him as kind of a, not stopgap, but like an insurance policy for Kwiatkowski? What was your reaction when you heard last night?
I mean, obviously, it hurts a little bit for this Texas football team because, Gary Patterson's just a brilliant defensive mind. We know what he did over 2 decades down in Fort Worth, but at the end of the day, his role was limited. So him coming straight from TCU and then jumping into this role where he's basically just another set of eyes, I don't think he's necessarily yelling at guys or, he just, any way he could help, he did. And him being 63 years old, you hear about him wanting to spend more time with his wife and take her on vacation. Hell, I want to take my wife on vacation. I ain't even 63 years old, so I feel him.
We all kind of have that feeling
Right, we all got that feeling. So I really feel him. Like, we taking our honeymoon in June. So when he said that hit home for me. Mm-hmm. But one thing I also thought of, Chad, if TCU didn't have the success they did this season, would he step down like he did? Because I think that had to hurt. As much as you did for that program, we know what he did in that 13-0 season. What was that, 2010, around there with Andy Dalton? They won the Rose Bowl. That was pretty magical. We know that they got the statue in front of them, but to leave how he did last year, basically kicked out.
Right. And then for it to be that year.
They come in. I know they didn't win the Big 12, but they got to the championship game with Sonny Dykes in year 1. That had to sting. And him being on our side and us definitely not getting anywhere close to that point, I think he realized, you know what? And he made that statement about, maybe he could help the college game on a bigger scale.
I think maybe that was just a reference to the foundation.
Okay.
That's what I was wondering. I thought the same thing. I'm like, wait a minute, is he thinking of an administrative job somewhere?
Yeah.
But when he mentioned his foundation, I kind of took that as it's something something I care about. It's something I've started, but I couldn't focus on it this last year. And now, if I'm not coaching, I can just really focus in on what the foundation does, and let's go help people. And I thought that's how I interpreted it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's fine then. So, hey, hats off to him. I appreciate what he did this past year. The defense was definitely better than it was year one.
So now,
under Pete Kwiatkowski.
Where's your concern level now with Kwiatkowski moving forward, though? Like, do you have a concern that you really think Gary was a big part of it?
Not as much. I think what Tom Herman left, like we saw, like guys like B.J. Foster basically quitting on his team at the end of the season. Kansas State game that year. Like there are a lot of just bad weeds on that team, which led to that 5-7 ball club. So I don't necessarily blame Pete Kwiatkowski. Like, yeah, they were bad, but it was more of the personnel and then them just trying to get their feet wet in year one. I think in year two, when you have guys like Anthony Cook, playing corner for you, and playing safety for you. Then Ryan Watts, guys like him coming in.
That leadership.
They were just better. Like Jalen Ford, the year he should have been Big 12 Player of the Year defensively.
Yeah.
DeMarion Overshown, like the defensive line, everybody was better with another year in, another year comfortable under PK's system. So I don't think it's that big of a step back.
Okay. One of the things I'm wondering after hearing this, by the way, let's give credit to the crew over at horns247.com, specifically Chip Brown, who got this interview. We had talked to Chip earlier in the season. I guess it was maybe, I can't remember if it was right after the season or not, but talking to Gary Patterson, where he had mentioned a 50-50 idea of if he was coming back or not. So Chip ultimately is the one that got this conversation. So shout out to him for that. Did you notice that he said to Chip twice? It felt like unprovoked twice. I could get to August and just decide that I want to come back and we'll see if this job's been filled. Did you catch that?
Yeah, that's an odd thing to say.
Here's what I wonder about Gary Patterson. Is he the kind of coach that can go Jimmy Johnson, or is he the kind of coach that has to be Bear Bryant? Because one of those guys was able to go get on a fishing boat, get a tan, have a hot girlfriend, and enjoy life. One of those guys was dead in 2 months after he stopped.
Yeah.
So where's Gary Patterson? To me, he feels like a hardcore coach on one side, but recently he's felt a little more free to me. Showed up at Big 12 Media Days a couple years ago, and I wanted to talk football, and he wanted to talk music. And I'm like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And he started talking about people he'd worked with and guys he'd done songwriting with. So I'm hoping that was just sort of a weird little slip for him a couple times, because I've never heard anybody do that. I'm taking a step back. Now, if I decide in August I'm not, you never know. But hopefully he is able to get away from it. He feels to me like a guy that can unplug, get away from it. Again, getting into the music thing, literally having a song called Take a Step Back and Take a Look at Your Life and
Classic.
all that. He's talking about R.C. Slocum in this interview and reassessing your life and how much life you have left and all that. So all the best to Gary Patterson. I hope he figures out what he does something he wants to do over the next couple years, hanging with the family. And hopefully, Zay, that voice can get to stabilize itself in a way we may have never heard, because he's had a hoarse voice the whole time we've known him.
Yeah, and that's messed up the singing career.
That's true. Oh, you never know.
Let's keep. He probably came down to the ATX thinking that he could take off with the music career, knowing the opportunities that you have. Austin City, music capital of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And, like you said, with the voice, it just didn't pop off for him.
Can you imagine if he can calm that voice down where he's not yelling at players or dealing with football? He might sound like Pavarotti. You don't know.
Was he?
He might be able to belt it out.
Was he yelling at players, though?
Like Iglesias or John Legend? Actually, he probably wasn't.
John Legend.
Actually, he probably wasn't.
I would love to see Gary Patterson sing, "All for me and then all for you."
Oh, it'd be fantastic.
That'd be amazing.
Fantastic. Best of luck to Gary Patterson, whatever he's going to be doing over the next year or so. We'll see if he can stay away from it.
Whatever he's going to do, he's going to break a sweat.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
He's going to break a sweat.
My man sweats. And you know what the other good news is for you, Zay, and a lot of Longhorn fans that are listening right now? Y'all don't have to deal with that optic anymore. Now, those pictures will still be out there, but no more continuing optic of him in your gear, because that was weird. Just weird.
What do you mean? The visor was on point.
Him in full Longhorn gear.
The burnt orange visor was on point.
That was weird. I'm not saying he didn't look good. He looked good. It's just after all those years in purple. That was tough. It's a weird thing to see. Just strange.
That's purple tacky. It's tacky.
So you got used to it.
Yeah, this is the first time Gary had style in a minute.
All right, fair enough. What if he keeps the Longhorn gear?
He better.
Does he have? So now is he gonna have Longhorn gear and TCU gear? If I see Gary on this vacation with his wife, and they're at a seaside restaurant having some fish tacos and a margarita, what's he wearing? Is he wearing TCU purple, Texas orange, or like his own tour shirt? Gary Patterson live in your town.
I would say let's wear both. Wear a TCU purple polo, some burnt orange khakis.
TCU fans will not like that. TCU fans
ain't about what they like.
Would not like that. That would mean you guys had way more effect than TCU fans would have wanted to admit. All right, Gary Patterson stepping down from his position at Texas, 3 days away from spring practice around here. It's only 43 days till the spring game. Lots of stuff going on, including day one of the Combine yesterday. Oh, yeah, let's dig into it. You got to love the Combine. Every year, I hear people belly aching about the Combine. It's the Underwear Olympics. It's this. How do you tell? You can't tell anything. Blah, 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 blah. And then something happens, and it resets us back to, oh, yeah. This, for whatever it is, good or bad, it is a show. I heard Rod Baber say it yesterday afternoon. Just remember, it is entertainment. Remember, it's a made-for-TV event. And Zay, the big name I think that most people are hitting from yesterday, let's just start with Nolan Smith. We'll get to the Longhorns. But Nolan Smith of Georgia, a guy that got banged up during the season, a guy that missed a significant portion of this season. He measured in at 6'2", 238, edge rusher. He ran a 4.39, and it was spectacular.
Yo.
I mean, did you see that 40?
Fam was flying. And, I mean, to be injured all year long. I remember looking at him on the sideline, the camera doing B-roll, talking about him missing games. And he was very into the game, which obviously he's a good teammate. But, yeah, 4.39 for somebody his size. You just think about what Kirby Smart's doing over there in Georgia. Like, it's just ridiculous how many guys that they've put into the league these last 2 years. That's why you've seen these last two national championships. And they got more guys like that. He wasn't the only one from Georgia that did well yesterday. So we know what's going on with Jalen Carter and stuff. But, man, yeah, Nolan Smith, he showed out. Very impressed with what he did.
The 10-yard split was 1.52. You can tell quickly if you haven't watched 40s in a year and you haven't watched them this year. You know how it is when they first take off. Or you know you're watching something special. They had the video of his teammates at Georgia watching at the facility, and then he sold the facility. Did you catch all that?
Nuh-uh.
He's interviewing with Stacey Dales. Is that Stacey Dales, right? On the sideline. And she's like, "Where are those guys? Where?" And he's like, "Oh, that's at our facility." He goes, "Yeah, our locker room is awesome." And then he looks, he looks right into the camera and goes, "We just got a new locker room. We just got we got a new restaurant." He said, "We got a restaurant in there. Shout out to Miss So and So and our culinary experts." And he was listing it all out, and he said, "If you're looking for a place to go, go to Georgia."
You know they found one of the best sisters that could whip up the best type of soul food in Atlanta.
Man.
Brought her on campus and said, "Can you make a healthier version for our players?"
Yep.
And she said, "Yeah, I could do that."
Oh yeah,
that ain't nothing.
Yeah, it was impressive. So he got a chance to sell the school a little bit too. Also,
while we got what's Bijan Robinson going to say? Yeah, the bubble, amazing.
No,
the bubble's popping.
Don't start with the bubble. Start somewhere else. Start somewhere else.
The bubble is popping. I mean, the facilities. Just don't mention that. Everything else is cool, though.
Talk about your new locker room. Talk about the Lambeau agreement. Talk about the new stadium upgrades.
Texas One Fun.
All that. Yes, exactly. Pancake factories.
Yeah.
Talk about all that. That's probably the way to go there. Yeah, Nolan Smith really showed out. A couple others. The vertical was 41.5. If you haven't seen, when you see a guy vert over 40 inches, it's a little different. And then,
that's like touching almost the top of the square of the backboard type stuff.
Yeah, no, that's silly. That is silly. And my personal favorite, the broad jump, 10.8. When they go up over 10 feet, Zay, is when I start to really pay attention. I think anything up over 10 is really special. He's at 10.8. And remember, you got to land that. You have to land it and not move.
Right.
They don't let you just hit and roll. So that broad jump number is really impressive.
Yo, I saw Nolan Smith get interviewed yesterday, and he thought that he ran a bad 40.
Yeah.
He thought, he was like, yeah, I felt like I only went 85%.
He was mad when he heard
4.6
or 4.47. He was pissed. He was pissed. And then Stacey Dales went over to him and said, hey, man, the official's a 4.39.
He was like, oh, okay.
Then he was like, okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right,
because
cool.
he said the trainers told him it looked good, and you know the people that were there.
That is wild.
Nolan Smith was incredible. We'll mention some of those other names of guys that really showed out, but the Longhorns, I thought looked really good. I've been able to watch most of it. I haven't watched every bit of the workout for Overshown. I was dealing with the weather stuff last night and some work things and other stuff, but I was able to see Coburn and Ojimo pretty much all the way through. And then Overshown a little bit of it. I thought they all looked really good. I don't know that any of them drastically improved the stock, but I didn't think any of them hurt themselves at all. What'd you think as a Longhorn fan watching?
Yeah, I think they were solid. You know, Moro Ojimo, he was about, 5'2", 5'1", at one point. And then Keandre Coburn was 5'2", so I like that. Then Demo, when he went 4.59, I think.
I'm seeing 4.56.
4.56, okay.
Yeah.
He was flying. He was
Yeah.
flying. So, 6'3", 230. NFL guys, they like that.
Yeah.
They like that speed. It's just, you know, we saw sometimes him get lost. And I think that came from the transition of being a safety to a linebacker. And he was a lot better this year, and you got to give Jalen Ford a lot of credit for that, to let, Demarion Overshown play freely. But, the year prior, if NFL guys go look at that film, that's going to be some tough film. Because, him and Brockermeyer, we know what happened again, 5 and 7.
Yep.
So it's just about him locking into the playbook, and whatever team that selects him, they better know that he's kind of a Swiss Army knife guy, and if you utilize him that way and utilize his strengths and maybe don't put too much responsibility on him, he could thrive.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously you knew there'd be some freakiness to Overshown. 4.56, and then the broad jump was 10.4, so he's out over 10 feet there. I thought Coburn looked really good. 6'2", 332. I'm seeing 5.22 on his best 40, 1.82 on the 10-yard split. I thought that was good for a guy that big for 332. 25.5 vert, 8.5 on the broad jump, which I think we had that information yesterday as we were rounding out the show. But I liked his drills. Zay, he needed to show the dancing bear qualities. He needed to show good feet. I thought he did. I thought everything was fluid for him like it needed to be when they're asking him to turn through those pads and angle everything. You make sure everything angle is short because you're trying to get the shortest possible route to a quarterback. I thought Coburn was good. Ojimo, 5.04, I think, on his best 40, 33 on the vert, 9.4 broad jump, the 1.77 on the 10-yard. He looked great. Ojimo looked fantastic yesterday.
He looked so good. I was like, damn, is he too small?
Man.
Yeah. And hopefully that doesn't cost him anything. But, yeah, you got to give love to Bo Davis and what he's done at the 40 with these defensive linemen. I mean, they love playing for him. And Keandre Coburn, he's been quoted saying how much of improvement that he gets credit from Bo Davis, just, making sure his technique's a lot better than what it's been previous years that we've seen down here at Texas. And I think that's been benefiting him at the combine. That's also going to benefit him when he gets to the league.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. If you had some thoughts on the combine, let us know today. It is the defensive backs that will show up. It is going to be the corners and safeties today. This usually ends up being a really fun day with 40s, with all the different drills. Zay, for you, I know he'll be good if you tell me he's good, considering where he went to school. Just keep the name Antonio Johnson in your mind. The A&M safety is a big deal supposedly in this draft. I'm seeing him ranked right here as the number 1 safety in the group.
Ooh.
I want you to tell me what you think. I want to know what your eyes think. Third-party observer, but also the other side of the rivalry kind of observer. He's going to be maybe a part of a big part of today. One of those names that people are looking for. So
6'3", man, he's big. He's a big safety.
That wingspan is incredible. Be interesting to see how he translates to that next level. Today it's 2:00 again on NFL Network. We'll keep talking Combine as we roll through the show. We've also got some basketball to get to real quick. Specs text line's already fired up, 337-3776. I love this. Somebody heard our promo where I was asking about if a woman outdrives a woman. We were talking about the Tiger Woods story and whatever. I said, what happens if a woman outdrives a woman? Somebody texted, in my 20s, from a female listener, in my 20s, a guy took me on a date to a driving range. I outdrove him, and he never called me again. I didn't care. P.S. I'm a girl.
Wow.
Dude, that would be so sexy to me.
Right? That's hot.
I love that stuff. I dated a girl back. My first real girlfriend had grown up as a bowler. And we went on a date, and she tore me up on the lanes.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the sexiest things I'd ever seen. She threw, I think, like a 235, and was pissed.
Right.
She was that kind of bowler. I loved it. I loved every second of it. But yeah, I could have dealt with that in my 20s, but I'm not a golf guy either. I don't have like pride on the golf course. So if you outdrive me, that's sexy to me.
Yo, loving basketball. Omar Epps, Sanaa Lathan. They playing a little pickup game in the dorm room. Omar Epps loses on purpose. Genius. What happened after? He got the draws.
There you go. There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. This guy on the driving range wasn't paying attention.
He wasn't paying attention.
Wasn't paying attention. We appreciate all those female listeners out there sending us texts. We appreciate all of our listeners on the Specs text line, 337-3776. Up next, Zay's going to get you all set up for Texas and Kansas. Still a lot to play for both teams. Obviously, Kansas gets all that regular season Big 12 title, but the Longhorns do not want to stumble at home to finish out the season at the Moody Center. Zay will give you the key things to look for next on The Horn. All right, this is Chad talking Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy sports. I've talked about a lot of different sports with Underdog. I've never talked MMA before. You know why? Because I've never done a pick'em game with MMA, but we got the big UFC 285 this weekend. Let's take a look. Valentina Shevchenko, 59.5 significant strikes, higher or lower. 2.5 takedowns, higher or lower. And for John Jones, 89.5 significant strikes, higher or lower, and 3 takedowns, higher or lower. That's all you got to figure out. I am a John Jones mark, so I'd probably go higher on one or maybe both of those. You pick which one you like the best. Make a pick'em game there. One of them could be MMA, could be all MMA, could be a little MMA and NBA. You can mix it up however you want to do it. Pick whether your favorite player has a higher or lower stat total for your chance to win big. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game. Just pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. So you could do Valentina and John and make a game that way, and you'd be done. You can also look at the rivals picks, pitting 2 players against each other, or in this case, fighters. I think there's one for this weekend. You can just straight do more knockouts between Jones and Gane that for the main event fight. If you want to do that one, I may take a look there. Also, check out the pick insurance option, which gets you a better chance to win. Sign up today with the promo code HORN. Get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with my promo code HORN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. It's the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. It's Underdog Fantasy. Wow.
I'm not going to lie. I thought the music would start playing by now.
I'm going to guess that this is not on the Jizza album I have to listen to next week.
Definitely not on Liquid Swords.
Wow. That was deep.
It was deep.
It's a lot going on there. Oh, here we go. Yeah, a lot of drugs here.
Yeah, the trip.
Just a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the engineer is gone. The guy that let him in the studio.
The guy pressing the buttons.
Gone. The dude that comes in to sweep the floors after they're done is gone. Everybody's gone on this one.
Yeah, nothing like a little 70s acid.
Man, I'm not even sure know where to start here because this has got all kinds of things to it. Man. Yeah, I don't know.
The Moody Blues.
Okay.
Ride My Seesaw.
Totally makes sense. Yep. Moody Blues. That's a perfectly logical guess from that time frame. Should have been able to come up with that one. Moody Blues fans, I apologize. What am I talking about? They're not awake right now. They're spacing out just like these guys are. They're on another place. Whole nother place. Moody Blues getting us started today on this Friday. We hope you are having a good one. There is all kinds of stuff going on today. Off of the conversation from the end of the last segment, I dated a girl who played basketball at St. Ed's. I was an average high school player. She beat me like 15-7 and one-on-one. Great legs, though. There you go.
I feel that.
It can happen. The promo that I made out of the question the other day about it, what happens if you're a woman and you outdrive a man on a golf course? What's the joke? What do you do off of that Tiger Woods story? And now we're just getting stories of when girls outperform guys in sports.
Swallow your pride.
Yeah.
Swallow it. It don't matter. Darren Waller, I just saw he's about to marry Kelsey Plum, the WNBA player that went to Washington, lefty, #1 pick.
Okay.
I know it's WNBA, so it might be hard for you to follow. But she was former #1 pick, really good player. She probably crushes him in hoops.
Yeah.
You don't care?
Yeah, just right. There's certain things. I mean, like what's the who's the NFL player that's married to the soccer player? Obviously she kills him in soccer. Right? Who's that? It's not Kelsey. It's
no. It's
Ertz.
the other.
Ertz.
Zach Ertz. Yeah.
His wife is like on the national team.
For sure.
So obviously she's going to kill him there.
One of my idols is Stedman. Oprah's man.
Ooh.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
That takes a lot, man.
I don't have to come to any events, honey? What? I could just stay at the big-ass mansion all day long and live off you? Shoot.
Checking boxes.
And we don't got to get married? Shoot.
Checking boxes. You're right.
Come on.
Well done. Yeah. No, it can do a lot of different ways. Different strokes for different folks, man. There's a lot of different ways to do it. All right. If you want to throw something at us, Specs text line is 337-3776. What'd you think of the Combine yesterday? Are there any freaks that we haven't mentioned that you want to talk about? We'll get to some of those other names. 3 Longhorns looked really good, and Nolan Smith of Georgia certainly looked great. Right now, though, we need to get into some basketball. It is time for the Right Call segment. Texas and Kansas rounding out the regular season. Zay, it doesn't mean everything it could mean to the Longhorns, but they certainly don't need to drop this game.
That's right, Chad. The Right Call segment brought to you by Syntex Tickets. Go to syntextickets.com for your concert, theater, stand-up, and sports tickets. Hey, Shelby, get them to me. Get them to me quick. Go to syntextickets.com. Yeah, unfortunately, the Horns aren't playing for a tie for the Big 12 championship, but there's more important things to look forward to. I'd rather have a national championship than a Big 12 championship. How about that? And going into this game, you just want to get the momentum and chemistry back. You've lost 3 out of the last 5. You've lost 2 back-to-back, the only back-to-back loss that you had all year. You've been terrific at the Mood all season long, only losing 1 game to Kansas State, who put up 116 on you. And you have a chance to be a team that is looking to get a #1 overall seed. Like, they're probably going to get a #1 seed regardless out of the 4 that you get, but they're looking for a #1 overall seed because they have 15 quad 1 wins, and if they beat Texas, that'll make it 16, which that leads the nation by a ton. So the last game at Allen Fieldhouse, when the Horns went up there 88-80, Grady Dick went off for 21. And they only hit 2 threes that game, Chad. Kansas only hit 2 threes that game.
Just two?
Just 2.
Oh, wow.
And they were huge threes. It was a nasty Grady Dick step back, which Coach Terry had to call a timeout then. And then there was a huge Grady Dick 3 in the corner, which also led to one of those runs. So Joseph Yesufu, he was the player of the game in that one. He had 19 minutes and had 14 points off the bench. And kind of like what we've seen as of late, Chad, you see Keontae George go out in the Baylor game. He has 0 points. You lose. You see Mike Miles go 0 for 8, only 1 point. He literally missed the tech that Coach Terry had. He only made one of those, so had 1 point in that game. You lose that, and then rewind back to the Kansas game. Their leading scorer, probably Big 12 Player of the Year, Jalen Wilson, has 2 points, and you don't win.
God, forgotten about that.
So it's
That's
like
crazy.
it's weird. This team is so hard to look at and judge, especially going into March, because of we know they're good at home, which you gotta love that, but you ain't playing at home in the tournament. After this game, this is it. Everything else is on the road. Now it's neutral, so that's a big difference than straight up playing on the road, but you don't like those stats. And again, these last 3 games, you're getting dominated on the boards by double digits. I know we talked to Jeff Howe yesterday. He made a good point. They are going to lose some games on the boards, but you don't want to lose by double digits.
Right. I was going to say, in the previous Kansas game, it was 5. You can live with that.
Right.
You can live with that.
Take that.
Yeah.
You can take that. Marcus Carr had a good second half, 29 points. Timmy Allen, he was too. A lot of those trash points that Timmy Allen has been getting as of late. So that 18 is like fool's gold. But these last 3 losses, Chad, the last 3 losses against Texas Tech, they get 41 rebounds, you get 29. Against Baylor, they get 37, you get 25. And then against TCU, they get 46, you get 28. So they're getting obliterated on the boards. And that's the guards. They got to step up and crash the boards too, even leaving your man, because, everybody's scared of the best time for a 3-point shooter to shoot is from an offensive rebound, because it's like practice. When you shoot in practice and somebody's rebounding for you under the rim, that's the best pass ever. Not from the wing, or not from the top of the key to the wing, because you got to catch it and then swing your body around to square up for your shot. When you're getting that pass from inside of the lane,
underneath,
you're already square. So it's routine. It's what you grew up with. You grow up with somebody getting the rebound for you when you're getting shots up. So everybody's comfortable shooting those shots. So Texas, they're scared to go crash the boards because they don't want to leave these shooters. No, go crash the boards, all 5. Sir'Jabari Rice, Tyrese Hunter, Marcus Carr. Y'all have to help these bigs. Y'all do, especially when Coach Terry goes small, which, going back and watching some of the game last night, I did not like. With how they got killed on the boards, 46-28 against TCU, you can't end the game with Timmy Allen playing your 4. You just can't happen. That can't happen. I know Coach Terry, that's a problem, because you want your 3 good guards out there, Carr, Rice, and Hunter, but you might have to take Timmy Allen out at times, maybe get the Sue in there or Cunningham, take him out. I don't know, but when those guys are in at the same time and it's away, you could see what you saw on the rebounding margin, just 18 more rebounds. Those things can't happen. That can't happen tomorrow. Obviously, you have to slow Jalen Wilson down, but with the way Kansas has been playing, they don't necessarily need Jalen Wilson to win games. Kevin McCullough has been amazing this year. He'll probably get Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12. He probably will. Him at 6'6", again, since Self has put the ball in his hands more and taken the ball out of DeJuan Harris' hands as much, that's a lot better for Kansas. So I think the Horns could win tomorrow, just because I think they're embarrassed for these last 2 losses, and then the corral and the mood, that's a huge advantage. But again, you're playing against a team that's trying to be a number 1 seed. They still have a lot to play for. They do. And Bill Self's going to go in with that mindset, like, guys, we get a number 1 overall seed and really control our destiny. We can, I haven't looked at all the regions and stuff, but they're going to get a region that's close to Kansas, so they could travel well. We know that fan base travels well regardless during this time of year. And I'm expecting a really good game. They're not big like some of these other teams in the Big 12. KJ Adams at 6'7", he plays majority of their minutes at their 5. Sometimes they play Uday, and he's around 6'9", and he had a terrific game. The 8 minutes that he gave the Horns, he had 6 points in those 8 minutes. Had a couple of nasty dunks and one dunk just to get the crowd hype. You can't have things like that happen. So Brock Cunningham, he has to do a lot better with his shooting. When Brock Cunningham's shooting well, the Horns, the trajectory goes up out the ass. So you need guys like that to step up. You need Marcus Carr to get back in that rhythm. You need Tyrese Hunter to keep on doing what he's doing. I love what Dylan DeSue's doing. Timmy Allen, he has to move without the ball and get going early with those pull-up jumpers and getting to the line. And Timmy Allen, he hasn't been shooting free throws as of late, but it goes back to legs. Like, this team is tired. And that's what you worry about in the Big 12. Some teams.
We've had listeners texting this week about that the guard looks tired. They said Carr's looking a little tired, but then everybody just kind of looks fatigued right now.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, like, the 9-man rotation, we got to get back to those freshmen. They got to give you more. They have to. They just have to. Christian Bishop, he looks tired. He hasn't been himself since Kansas State, and he had 14 points in the second half. So I'm still nervous, just like I've been these last couple of weeks. It's just Big 12 is brutal, and I'm so glad it's kind of coming to an end, even though I'm looking forward to the Big 12 tournament. But Texas has a huge opportunity tomorrow. Lunardi still has them at number 2 as a number 2 seed.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. They could easily lose the next 2 games and have to wait till the tournament to see where they're going to be placed next Sunday. If they lose these next 2 games, I could see them going to a number 3 seed, especially with how good Shaka Smart's Marquette squad is doing, which is very annoying for obvious reasons. But yeah, you gotta be clicking at the right time, and that's all I'm looking for tomorrow night. I need to see some type of rhythm and chemistry and some type of momentum going into the tournament.
Right now, Lunardi has them as the 2 seed in Denver. The 7 seed would be Iowa, which doesn't really have any kind of weird connections. But right now, he has them matched up with Tennessee in the Sweet 16.
I would not want to play Iowa.
Okay.
Hell no.
Nope.
They just beat
Michigan State.
And they beat Indiana by like 30.
Yeah, the comeback was Michigan State.
Yeah.
And then beat Indiana bad. That's just to give you an idea where Lunardi has Texas right now. He's got Texas and Kansas State still sitting on that 2 line. Texas and Kansas tomorrow at 3 o'clock, so it is a 2:30 pregame for you. Also, if you're watching those other teams, Iowa State's going to be at Baylor. Kansas State is going to be at West Virginia. And if you're a Longhorn fan, you're rooting for Iowa State and West Virginia, because Baylor and Kansas State are those 2 teams that you're kind of fighting with in the standings to get the best seeding for the Big 12 tournament. That game is 3 o'clock tomorrow. We'll keep talking about that. Coming up at 1:05, a really bizarre conversation out of the NFL, but one we think you will enjoy. Zay found a story about the NFLPA. They've just released a report about every team in the NFL and how they treat their players. Interesting to find out, where do the Cowboys rank? What are some of the specifics they found there? Who's the worst team in the league? Where are the Texans? We'll get into all of that at 1. Up next, though, in the crap bag. They knew, but it still didn't matter. And the XFL kicks a dude out for what now? We'll tell you on the Horn. Oh, come on, Jack. Always dug his voice. Great White and Once Bitten, Twice Shy. Got to be the biggest hit they had.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. There were some others. There were some other decent ones. Always loved Lady Red Light. Singing a song about, Lady of the Evening and some of the struggles. Was their Roxanne. But, yeah, Once Bitten, Twice Shy was big. Trivia on this video. This video has the girl that eventually was in the Cherry Pie Warrant video. She's in this one, too. She dated a few guys.
Oh, she got around, huh?
In the business. She ended up marrying, I believe, the Warrant lead singer. They met on that set, I think. But she is also in this one. Bobby Brown was her name, by the way. Another weird little trivia there. Great White and the Moody Blues getting us started today. Lots of sports on the docket, obviously. Coming up at 1:30, we'll get you our Flex 30 segment. Best of luck to all the teams still in the basketball playoffs around these parts. Stony Point fans are very excited about their matchup. That comes up at 7:30 tonight. The San Marcos folks are in the same building. They're at the Northside ISD facility in San Antonio. They'll go at 5:30. Winners play each other. This is Sweet 16 now. In the high school basketball playoffs, you play Sweet 16 tonight, and the regional final, round of 8, Elite 8 game would be tomorrow afternoon. Pretty quick turnaround, so we'll get into all of that. Zay just got you some info on Texas and Kansas. Big one at the Moody Center tomorrow. Get on out there and say goodbye to the Moody Center for basketball for this season. What a wild first season the Moody Center had. You couldn't have predicted that it was going to roll out the way it did. But as of right now, Zay, they've only lost one game. It'd be really nice to close it out that way. You only would have lost the one to Kansas State, and then you look forward to year 2 of the Moody Center. Whoever the coach is going to be, whatever's going to happen with this team. But even with the craziness with Chris Beard, for them to only have lost one game by this point, it's pretty impressive.
It is pretty impressive. I mean, the corral's popping. You knew when they made the move and they said only 10,000 would get in, the Horns could have an advantage. And at the end of the day, you still got to put a good product on the court. I mean, we wouldn't know if this team wasn't good, for majority of the season, what it could have looked like, because we've seen what happens when Texas isn't good, but that was in the Irwin Center. So we'll see what happens in year 2. Very eager. Like you said, we don't know what the coaching situation will be like. I feel like we'll get a hint in this next 3 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, still a lot much of question out there. So yeah, I'm with it. The mood's been terrific, and the Horns, they got to get one tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be big. 3:00 tomorrow with Texas and Kansas. All right, let's get you a little crap bag here. Zay's gonna love this XFL story. Plus, the baseball story is pretty wild too. All right. Brought to you by AV Consultations. 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com. Before I get fair with the XFL, let's talk baseball. They've got spring training started, and you've probably seen there's a lot of different, rules changes and things that they're looking at, pitching clocks and trying to shorten games and everything. And they've really liked some of the results they've had. Well, the Twins ended up with something that they didn't quite expect, but eventually, they still got through it. So Kenta Maeda, the pitcher, is throwing in a spring training game, and they've got this technology called PitchCom that's hooked up. And I think this is going to be going on in the regular season, where now a coach is able to talk directly to the catcher. He'll have an earpiece in. He can just talk to him. Fastball, curveball, hey, let's go slider, whatever. Let's throw him the back door, blah, 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 and then you do that. And I can't remember I think it's just the catcher. I don't know that the pitcher can hear as well. I may have this technology a bit mixed up in my head. I think it's just the catcher. But anyway, what happened in this game is they realized pretty quickly, the catcher realized that the batters could hear the call. Like the volume was off or some setting was off and he couldn't control it, and the batters were hearing everything. So Maeda ends up throwing 2 scoreless innings. He strikes out a couple of batters, and then the catcher tells him, by the way, they knew every pitch. So he didn't know at the time. So there's a lot of psychology, I think, that goes into this, Zay. If the pitcher doesn't actually know that they're being tipped, and then the batters are maybe questioning if they're hearing it, that doesn't necessarily mean they believe it.
Right.
And it was only 2 innings, and then they adjusted it and got maybe the volume figured out. But I thought that was a pretty wild story after all that baseball's dealt with Astros and Red Sox and stealing signs, and the warnings went out to the Yankees, and some people believe every team does it. But now you've got some of it that's not allowed, but you've got this extra technology that's allowed. And in this case, the other team could hear exactly what was going on.
Wow.
Crazy. So get that volume figured out.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
We're going 12-5 right here.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, what? What? Huh?
What? Nothing. No. My dog's name is Slider. I brought my dog today. See right over there? No, it's the dog. I was calling the dog. That's all that was. It's the only thing. Be on the lookout for a lot of those things in baseball that may look different to you, right down to the base itself. They've made the bases a little bigger in baseball this year, and one of the managers said it looks like a pizza box out there. So you got that going on. They're trying to shorten games, and in this case, you got batters that can hear a little bit.
With the big ass base now, you're gonna see a lot more juking and like jumping over guys and just different maneuvers instead of the normal slides.
That's a good point.
Because it's so big. If a second baseman is trying to get a steal or a shortstop, whatever, then if I know a guy's tendencies, he likes to do this, I might hurdle a guy or jump around them.
You got different angles you can use. You can run a little wider because you've got a little, you just got a little more out there. Instead of it used to be 15 inches all the way across. So from the center out was 7.5 inches. Now it's 18. So center out is 9.5. You got 9. So you got an extra, depending on how they set the base, about an extra 1.5 to 2 on the outside that you could use if you need it.
If I'm like a leadoff hitter and I'm supposed to be known for stealing bases, I'm going to go watch great edge rusher film and what they do. Like the drills that we see at the combine where they're like going side, swipe.
Hit the bag
and stuff like that. That could be useful when you're stealing bases. Just saying.
I haven't really thought of that.
Think about it.
That's deep right there.
That's deep.
That shows you really like the combine. It's well done. That's well done. If you think the combine can translate to that, that's great. I'm with you.
If somebody steals my ID, I want my money. Y'all, we got it on air.
I will go with that idea. I like it.
March 3rd. I want my money. They steal my idea.
All right, the other story, Zay, I've got to get out there. I got to be fair to these XFL stories. So if I'm going to tell you about A.J. McCarron getting emotional after a win and really appreciating his experience, I got to tell you the opposite, and here's the opposite. There's a dude for the Orlando Guardians that's no longer an Orlando Guardian because they kicked him off the team because they found out he was sharing their plays with other teams.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. I have not heard the particulars of, was he just texting it? Hey, by the way, when we say this, it means this. Was he emailing it out? Was he just verbally doing this? Apparently they investigated. They were able to find proof that he did it. They've kicked him off their team, and for some reason they felt the need to scrub him from the XFL record book.
So what's his position?
I think he's a defensive lineman. I think that's right. I think he's a defensive player.
So he's showing the team's defensive plays.
I think. Let me double check. He went to Tennessee.
This dude's trash.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I had not looked him up specifically because I just thought, oh my God, what are we doing? Where is he? Where
Hope he got
did
some
he go?
coin.
Yeah, I cannot find. All I'm finding is old stories. Why can't I find this? Anyway, yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'd have to look him up on what position it is. I'm terribly sorry there.
No, it's all good. I mean, you gotta be a real piece of crap to do this. I get it. It's the XFL, and you might have boys on the other squad. Because if he's a quarterback and he's playing backup and he's giving the plays to other defensive teams, so maybe he could become the starter, I could see that. Trying to sabotage the QB situation,
yeah,
QB1.
To do something on your team.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I need to start. Here are the plays. Get a couple of 6, pull him, and then I'm going to stop sending plays to these teams. That would have been genius.
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure, again, all the particulars of it, but they were able to prove it, and he's now off the team. So there you go. So it just depends.
He is a quarterback.
He's a quarterback?
He's a quarterback.
Okay, see, I hadn't seen.
Quentin Dorme.
Okay, I misheard it then. I thought it was a defensive player.
Yes, he
My
did
bad.
it.
So he's a quarterback sharing plays with other teams? Why are you happy about this? That's not good.
Yo, again, he might be backup. They didn't say he was starting.
Yeah, no, I don't think he is. I don't believe he is the Orlando starter, and he's certainly not Orlando anything right now. That may be.
He's wearing 23 in this picture. What kind of quarterback number is that?
I don't know.
Are you hefty lefty rocking 22?
That may be his last opportunity at football right there. So, yeah, he is done. By the way, that team will be in action this week without him. Tomorrow, you got one XFL game, Seattle and Vegas, 6 o'clock on FX. Stay on FX noon on Sunday. This may be the best game of the week. St. Louis with A.J. McCarron against that D.C. defense. Both teams are 2-0. That's at noon. Orlando at Arlington is 3 o'clock on FX. If you're rolling through Arlington, you want to check the game out. 3 o'clock on Sunday. And then San Antonio goes to Houston, 7 o'clock on Sunday. So you have a triple header of XFL action on Sunday, Zay, if you need it. Noon, 3, and 7.
Yo, they're treating A.J. McCarron like he's Peyton Manning. I saw him talking with Stephen A. the other day, and I'm like, I know y'all are promoting it because they're on the 4-letter network, and they're literally on y'all's network, but come on. Come on.
Maybe going a little far.
We're far.
They've won. Hey, they're 2-0, and they've had 2 comeback wins, so it's exciting for people to follow this A.J. McCarron story. And deep down, they get to see his wife every game, so that's
yeah, I'm with that.
That's positive as well.
Right.
All right, there's your crap bag. We do it every day at about 12:45. Up next, a fascinating story from the NFLPA. They went and looked at every single team in the league in terms of the facilities, how they treat their players, how the teams travel, and all of that. Take a guess. Who do you think the worst team in the NFL is for all that stuff? If you think about it, I think you'll get it. That's next on The Horn. All right, how about hour number 2 on a Friday? Hope you're having a good one. Busy sports weekend coming up. Obviously, we talked about Texas and Kansas. That comes up tomorrow. Zay got you the right call segment at 12:30. 3 o'clock tomorrow for that one. Remember, Texas baseball fans, you got a tough road series at Cal State Fullerton. Obviously, a lot of folks going to be thinking of Augie this weekend. 8 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow is 7 and Sunday at 2. So just remember those a little bit later start times with the series out in Cali this weekend. So you got that. But based on those times, we'll be able to have all those games for you on the horn since the basketball game is at 3 o'clock tomorrow. All that works out for us. We'll get you all that action as well. Men's and women's basketball rounding out their season, getting ready for the Big 12 tournament, and softball continuing as well. Remember, all the women's basketball games and softball games on 105.3 The Bat. Chad and Zay with you on this Friday. We got a lot of stuff we've been hitting, talking Combine, Longhorns, and how they looked yesterday, as well as the freaky good performance of Nolan Smith of Georgia and some of those other names. We're going to get into another NFL story here in just a second. By the way, Zay, before we talk about team grades on stuff, a shocking story coming out of Indianapolis this week. Teams have interviewed Bijan Robinson, and they like him. Shocker. I'm floored by that.
Yeah, it's so surprising.
It's amazing.
He was such an a-hole down on the 40 acres these last 3 years.
Right.
Just treating people badly, cussing them out and stuff.
It's the story you knew you would hear every year at Big 12 Media Days, whatever he does. He's such a good guy. I heard somebody say he makes everyone feel like they are important when and especially when he doesn't have to. And that's, I'm sure, what he'll do, when he's talking to NFL teams. So they're really impressed. And then Sunday is when Bijan gets to go through the workouts. And, when you think about it, and I thought Jeff Howe said it really well yesterday when we were asking, why would he do? You asked him, why would he do this? And it's basically, if you're going at the back end of that first round, and we all know where like a Saquon Barkley was drafted, it's not going to be that high probably, but can he just climb? Can he just convince a team, get somebody to like him, get somebody to think about, trading up to get him up in the teens maybe, or who knows, even higher. It just takes one team to fall in love. So that's what he's trying to do. There's a lot to love about that guy.
Yeah, I mean, we know running backs and their value in the NFL, and if you're Bijan Robinson, you're a different breed. Over the last decade, not too many guys have over 100 missed tackles, and he did that in only 3 years. So the Doak Walker Award winner for a reason, and you talk about his personality, he couldn't be a better guy. I mean, his faith is so important to him. He treats everybody the same with respect. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. He always talks about his grandparents and how big they were into raising him. His grandpops being an official in the SEC, or not SEC, in the Pac-12. So him being a big Reggie Bush fan, that's why he rocks that number 5 and stuff.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that ref connection.
Yeah. So he's been around the game his whole entire life. He's been a grade A citizen ever since he's gotten here, and even before that when he was in high school. So, yeah, not surprised that he killed all his interviews. And, yeah, a team, if he could impress everybody with what he does at the Combine on the field, then the team could take a chance on them, and I wouldn't be surprised at that at all.
So yesterday, of course, it was Overshown, Coburn, and Ojimo, and we talked about their performances, and all three we thought looked pretty solid. You can let us know your thoughts if you have them. Specs text line 337-3776. It will be Sunday for the running back. So Bijan, Roschon, we're going to mention Deuce Vaughn coming up here in the flex segment, but he'll be a part of the running backs, obviously, on Sunday. Tomorrow is the big day for quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends. So you've got guys like Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, some of the other quarterbacks going through interviews, and there's now different articles coming out about those guys, how they're impressing, what are the question marks out there. I love Bryce Young's answer to the size question. Hey, man, I've been this size for a while. I'm good.
Yeah.
I know you might be concerned about you being an NFL quarterback at this size. I've been this size for a while. I know how to use it. I know how to deal with it. I think I'll be okay.
Yeah. Again, just another guy with a good head on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to worry about him having Kyler Murray video game moments. That's not a thing with him.
Right.
You're not going to have to worry about him always being at the facilities and his leadership. He's just going to carry what he brought at Alabama into the NFL. So, Yeah, I got to see him take that first real shot, though.
Yep.
That first serious shot, which who knows if he'll get that with how they protect quarterbacks in the league nowadays. But we see what happened with Tua last year. Like 3 concussions, people talking about he shouldn't keep playing. And Tua's a little bit bigger than Bryce Young. So
Right.
obviously they have different games. And I think Bryce is a little bit more mobile and can avoid certain things that Tua, which Tua is a horrible faller too, but Tua doesn't have that mobility that Bryce Young has. He definitely isn't as fast or quick as a Kyler Murray, but I think he's a lot smarter than Kyler Murray. And yeah, if they took him number 1, Bryce Young, I think he's gravy.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is the official for you Texans fans and others out there. On NFL.com right now, I'm seeing 6 foot 194 for Bryce Young. I don't know if that's the official and if that's the actual. Have they gone through it yet? Because I don't see any. Obviously, he doesn't test till tomorrow, so we may not get that official.
Bryce, you got heels on, bro?
Number until tomorrow. I think he would love for it to be
6'1".
He would love for 6 foot. Sorry, I
6
thought I said
foot,
6 foot.
okay.
6 foot.
6 foot.
6 foot 194.
Yeah. That's
So,
breeze.
We'll see. Yeah, and everybody was thinking that, that one, it was going to be 190 something, that he was going to have some weights in his pocket.
Yeah, you heard Tyreek Woolen clowning Russell Wilson, talking about he's short as hell. That's bigger than that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Combine rolls on. We'll continue to talk about that. We also wanted to hit this story that Zay found about the NFLPA. I did not know that this was going on, so credit to you, Zay, for finding it. So the NFLPA put out their grades for every team, their individual team report cards for different categories, and the categories are treatment of families, nutrition, weight room, strength staff, training room, training staff, locker room. So all of those different things are considered. And let's go to the first, I guess, obvious question for people. Let's go top 5.
Okay.
Who are the top 5, and are either Cowboys and Texans involved in that group? Because I'm guessing the Cowboys are going to be high.
Yes.
Yeah.
Top 5, number 1, Vikings, best in the league.
Wow. Okay.
2, Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
3, Vegas Raiders. 4,
right.
Houston Texans.
Whoa. Okay.
And 5, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, how about that? Houston sliding in there before the Cowboys. So Houston and Dallas both getting top 5 credit for the kind of overall grade there.
Yeah, Houston, they rank B+ in treating of families, B+ food service and nutrition, A in weight room, A in strength coaches, B in training room, A+ in training staff, B+ locker room, A+ team travel.
Yeah,
Impressive.
that is impressive. In looking at the Cowboys breakdown here, and by the way, you can go if you're an NFL fan, you can spend way too much time on this. If you go, if you go search NFLPA,
this is like junky stuff.
Team report cards, it is crazy. So with the Cowboys, you can look up every little detail, and the one grade, Zay, of the Cowboys that's not an A or a B is team travel.
Team travel.
Tied for 23rd in the league. Team travel.
C-. The Cowboys are 1 out of 7 teams that don't offer first-class seats to players. The Bears, Eagles, Colts, Bucks, Titans, and Commanders are the other 6 teams. So you're telling me big-ass Tyler Smith is sitting coach? Jerry Jones?
Yeah, I need to know exactly detail-wise. What does that mean? Doesn't offer first-class seats to their players. They're not flying on the typical plane that only has 10 or 12 first-class seats or whatever that number is, because that's not enough for a football team. So I need to know exactly what they mean by this. And Jerry knows. Like, the team knows what they mean and how they're breaking this down, because I always assume these teams are traveling with these, like, badass private planes.
Oh, yeah, recliner chairs.
The ones that have
like
been retrofitted where every seat is first class.
Yeah.
That's my assumption. So the fact that the Cowboys are in this group of 7 teams, that's a little surprising. Everything else is A's and B's, and that gets the Cowboys into the top 5. But the travel thing is it's the one that kind of blinks at you.
It just doesn't make sense. You're in the NFC East, and you come from Dallas, so you got to go to D.C., or whatever, Maryland, Landover, Maryland, whatever they play at those horrible facilities down there in Washington, which ranks 32, by the way. Big shocker there for Dan Snyder's group. But the Eagles and the Giants, That's 4 hours plus all those trips. And you have one of the worst in the league commutes to get there based on what you have on your plane. Like I'm just trying to picture
Right. Yeah.
like Zach Martin and Tyler Smith like hitting each other's elbows. You know, when you're too close to somebody sitting in the seat, you're touching elbows and stuff. Like, hey, what's going on here, Jerry?
Yeah, see, that's the part I'm not trying to do this as some kind of, defensive fan. It's just not just as a fan of the team, but as somebody that I feel like understands the team. I just can't conceive of the Cowboys traveling in some cheap way.
Yeah, you can't be cheap with nothing. You're Jerry Jones. You know how much bread y'all make? More than anybody in the league. More than anybody in sports.
Yeah, it does not make sense to me. That part does not make sense to me. But you can go into each team and look at specific things. Just weird. Texans, one of 14 teams that don't offer a family room in terms of supporting the family.
F them kids.
They got a B+. B+ on the food service. 72% of players say there is enough room in the cafeteria. All 3 meals provided, all that stuff. Did you tell me you found a team that is charging for meals?
Yep, Arizona Cardinals are the only team in the NFL that charges players for dinner and the only team that charges for meals eaten at the facility in the offseason.
Oh, my God.
That's some serious kind of cheap right there.
Now, let's get to the bottom of things. We talked about the top 5. Give me the bottom 5. I felt stupid that I couldn't come up with the absolute worst team. I think a lot of our fans out there have probably already thought of it. But go from what is that, 28, 29, 30, 31, 30? Yes, go from 28 to 32. Let us know who the bottom 5 are.
All right, 28.
Yeah.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
29.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs.
Interesting.
30, the Chargers.
Okay.
31st, the Cardinals, and 32nd, the Commanders.
See, I felt so stupid for not going with Dan Snyder. How could I not go
it's easy.
with Dan Snyder? What stands out to you on the Washington report card? Like what's on there that would make a Cowboys fan smile?
Oh, let's see. Basically everything.
By the way, I love that there are 2 F minuses and an F in their grades.
Obviously, they treat families horribly. F, tied for last. The nutrition, D+. So that's not good. The weight room, which is the best that they have to offer. C+. Oh, nope. The strength coaches is. Weight room, C+. Their strength coaches are amazing. A+. Get you right.
There you go.
Get you ready to play. In shape. Training room, though, if you get hurt, sorry. F- in the training room. Training staff, D. Locker room, F-. Team travel, F-. So Dan don't care about nothing.
Under locker room, it says some players complain that there's a lack of warm water and poor drainage in the showers.
Ooh. Like the sewer stuff that you saw at FedEx.
Yeah.
Getting in the showers too. I mean,
good grief.
One of the worst things I've seen, which is why the Jacksonville Jags are 28th, rat infestation problem.
Oh my God.
Rats, Chad.
You had rats at the facility?
Yo, Doug, I can't come. I can't work under these conditions.
Wow.
You want me to worry about Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? Well, we got rats in the locker room.
Man.
And, yo, I know some sketchy guys that are rats. So, but still, Doug.
Coach, I know you'd love us to talk about how we're going to play the 3-4, but I got 3 or 4 rats over here.
Yeah.
So you need to help me out.
It makes a lot of sense with Urban Meyer because obviously he didn't give a damn. He was probably treating the rats like Michael Jackson did Ben.
Oh, my God. Team travel for the Washington team. 22% of players felt like they had enough room. One of 6 teams that make their younger players have roommates. Zay, in the NFL, guys have to have roommates on some of these teams? I wouldn't have guessed that one.
I mean, for groupie purposes, maybe.
Whatever you need to do, Jerry, to get out of this category, Washington, one of 7 teams that don't offer any of their players first-class seats. Figure out what that means and change it right now. Right now. Come on, Jer.
Yeah, y'all make too much money down there in Dallas for those things to be happening.
Let's go, Star. We kind of know what we are as the Cowboys, Jer, but one thing we need to be is that we need to be a team that gets A's and B's in all this stuff. All of this. Travel, treat the players, all of that. All that love we talk about you do, Jerry, you got to give it in the travel part too. So talk to your travel people today. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So if you want to spend way too much time in a rabbit hole on the internet today, go search that. NFLPA team report cards. Oh, my goodness.
The Minnesota Vikings didn't have one B. All A's and up.
How about that?
A minuses and up.
Go ahead, Minnesota. You go right ahead. That is impressive. In fact, maybe I'll tweet that out so people can see it. And remember, Zay is at @ain'tthat_Zay on Twitter. I'm at CHastings1049. We'll get that tweeted out there for you at the Horn ATX for the station. All right, so a lot of football obviously on the board for us. Football never dies around here, and we're almost there, Longhorn fans. 3 days till Texas spring practice. Spring game 43 days away. The NFL draft 55 days away, and we're only 183 days from Texas' first football game of the year. Coming up at 2:05, Jeff Ketchum of OrangeBloods.com. We'll try to catch up with Ketch. Talk about Gary Patterson stepping away from the Longhorns. He's going to not be an analyst this season and just kind of hang out with the family. We'll get back into that story. Up next in the Flex segment, high school playoffs continue. That big matchup in San Antonio tonight. Plus, football talent at the Combine. Some local talent going to be on display tomorrow. We'll remind you where you can see them next on The Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk Underdog Fantasy. Easiest place to play fantasy sports. I was telling you earlier about the MMA options for the weekend. You can do that. Mix it up with some Major League Baseball and spring training, maybe a little NBA as well. With the pick'em games, it's so simple. Just pick whether your favorite player is going to have a higher or lower stat total in the games for your chance to win big. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build that pick'em entry. You can look into the rivals picks. You get all the picks right, you win. But also look at that pick insurance option. Gives you a better chance to win. You'll only need 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 and so on. I've got it on my phone. It's great to have that going on with a little something happening when the game is going on. If you love that kind of stuff, this is what you need. Get it on your phone, and you will love setting up those pick'em games. Sign up today with the promo code HORN, and you'll get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store, and don't forget to register with my promo code HORN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. It's the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. It's Underdog Fantasy. Rocking through a Friday. Oh, that sounds like the guy right there. Sounds like Ronnie James Dio. That means this could either be Dio, Ronnie James Dio, Rainbow, one of those three. There are my three guesses, but that sounds like Dio.
You got to pick one.
This sounds like it goes back a ways. I'm going to say Rainbow.
All right, there you go.
There we go. Yeah. Got a little more, like, the Rainbow stuff is sort of mystical. When he went into the Dio stuff, it got a, there it is, the man on the silver mountain. Yeah. That's your Rainbow right there. Rainbow, and I think it's, what's my man on guitar? Richie Blackmore, I believe is his name. If I missed that, guitar people, I'm sorry. Rainbow, Great White, the Moody Blues have all been a part of the show today.
So, Chad, listen to this before we get into the flex
Mm-hmm.
segment, because this needs to be talked about. I can't believe this is really a thing.
All right.
According to Dov Kelman of the Bro Bible, NFL writer,
Okay.
he posted that Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud said today that one of the quarterbacks he looks up to is Deshaun Watson.
Wow.
He also said he chose to wear number 7 because of Mike Vick.
Man, he was coming out firing at the combine.
Like, just pull Eli Manning and say, I don't want to play for the Indianapolis Colts. Just say that. You don't have to do all this, brother. You don't have to do all this.
Man.
If you don't want to go to Indianapolis, I get it. What they did with Jeff Saturday, you cannot trust Jim Irsay one bit. I get it, because a lot of people have him going number 4. So, hey, if you're trying to pull an Eli Manning, I ain't playing in no San Diego. Just say it. But I look up to Deshaun Watson like, what's next? Like, Aaron Hernandez was a great role model for me in my life.
Oh, my God. No, not that far.
Like,
hope he doesn't go that far.
I talk to O.J. Simpson every Sunday night for motivation. Like, what else?
Did he go into any details about why Watson?
I don't see any here. I'm sure.
We're at number 7 for Vic. I think we could all put that together. I mean, whatever age he might have been getting into football, and if he dug Michael Vick, okay, I guess.
Like, he was young when he was barely alive when Vic was doing his thing for Atlanta.
I guess that's true, right? Because he's
2000 something. Has to be.
Yeah, he's right in there. But I mean, that was. I'd have to go double check like the years on Vic of exactly when it was. 99 title game, and he's getting going. He goes what?
2001, number 1 pick,
somewhere in there. Yeah. But no, you're right. He would have been really, really young.
Yo,
if
CJ,
at all.
you wildin', dog.
That's wild.
You're wildin'.
That is wild. Also, how about this? Since you just mentioned a quarterback, I just saw this tweet pop up. And by the way, I did retweet that NFLPA story if you really want to go down a rabbit hole and spend some time today.
Specs text line said Texans massaging crew A+.
Oh, see? There it is. There it is. All right, how about this text, Zay? This is from a guy in Indianapolis, I believe it is, who works for the Indy Star. He says, Florida's Anthony Richardson strolls casually up to podium 1, and he just looks different. Big, strong, a whole other something. Carries himself differently than Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, too. Less experienced he may be, but he's an older soul. One man's opinion of Anthony Richardson.
Yo, they said he was the best interview out of all the quarterbacks. A lot of guys said that when I was looking over, combine stuff. So, hey, he has to do that because he doesn't have as many snaps as those guys that you just named. So he has to stand out in different ways. And, I saw him with his dreads and stuff. He looked for real. Like, he looked like he has that solid NFL quarterback body, and we know the arm is serious. It's just we haven't seen him play that much.
Yeah, so now is it going to be, are we looking at legitimately, 4 guys definitely gone in this first round? Will he go in the first round? Is Levis gone in the first round? And then obviously the other 2 guys are going to go earlier than that. So the interviews are starting today for all those big-time players. And we talked earlier about Bijan Robinson going through interviews with teams. Shock. They love number 5, Longhorn fans. I know you're really surprised by that. Bijan trying to do his best to climb up that first round and maybe get out of an end of the first round discussion, get up to at least the middle and maybe more. Who knows? Only takes one team. We just talked about that NFLPA grade report card. You can check that out. I retweeted it at chastings1049. Zay is at @ain'tthat_Zay. All right, let's get into the flex segment, and we will start with one of the local guys at the Combine trying to get himself an NFL position. Here we go. All right, they are trying to change their lives in Indianapolis, and a young man from Manor was there yesterday, O'Shawn Mathis. Of course, ended up at Nebraska, and I'm seeing 6'5", 250 here, Zay. The hands, 10 3/4. That's some big mitts he's got on him. 4.74 in the 40, a 1.64 in that 10-yard split, 33.5 on the vert, 9.10 on the broad jump. Pretty good numbers there for O'Shawn Mathis, one of the edge rushers that is going to get some attention in this draft. The strengths, according to Lance Zierlein, 4-year starter, outstanding traits, arms like vines with enormous hands, range to slide down the line and cut off the backside, short area quickness to elude blockers when needed, and some other things too on NFL.com. Best of luck to O'Shawn to impress the NFL folks, and shout out to all the Manor crew as they follow O'Shawn. I always think of the Manor folks Tuesday when I see that Houston team playing because of Shed and the gang.
Right.
They're enjoying that run too. Also, we told you about yesterday, we talked about a couple of the other names, but keep your eyes peeled for tomorrow. With the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends, we mentioned it's Elijah Higgins, right?
Yeah,
From Stanford. Elijah Higgins, who went to Bowie and then ultimately ended up at Stanford. And then on Sunday, as you're checking out Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson, make sure you check out Deuce Vaughn. And Deuce is going to be a part of it as well. And to see where he ends up, of course, Cedar Ridge was the high school for Deuce. Best of luck to him. We mentioned Miles Brooks yesterday out of Hendrix. He went to La Tech, and he is a cornerback trying to get some love. He will be working out today, so best of luck to Miles to getting some attention. And, of course, we mentioned O'Shawn Mathis. So congrats to those flex guys trying to make a little noise at the Combine. Deuce Vaughn, Zay, that's one of those guys. Obviously, the Texas guys we're watching around here for obvious reasons, but I hope Deuce Vaughn puts on a show on Sunday. I got to think he's going to have a little bit of – I got to think he's going to test really well. From everything I know, I've had a chance to interview him once, and he was so impressive. What a great young man that is. It's got that Bijan level to it as well, where you kind of feel good about everything when you get done talking to Deuce Vaughn. I'm assuming the teams are going to love him too.
Yeah, how can you not love him? I mean – guy plays undersized but has so much heart. He gave them so much down there in Manhattan for these last 3 years, and we know how big of a steal he was to end up there with how good he was here at Cedar Ridge. But there's for sure a spot for Deuce Vaughn on any team, whether that's a gadget player where you could put him in between tackles. And I think that's what's going to surprise a lot of teams. He did really well in between the tackles. Lowering his head, he might not run you over like a Jerome Bettis or something like that, but he ain't scared to go in between the tackles. And we know majority of his game comes from the outside. But yeah, I think if he could find his niche as like a kick return, punt return guy, he could have a very successful time in the league.
Yeah, I'm looking at NFL.com right now, and it says 5'6", 176. I don't know if it's official. We'll see where that ends up. That 176, it feels, that feels so light. But when you watch him play, he doesn't play light. He plays like Deuce Vaughn plays. So best of luck to Deuce and all those area guys at the Combine. Also, best of luck to the area teams in the high school basketball playoffs. We are at Sweet 16 round now, and we were telling you earlier in the week about this doubleheader. If you're headed to San Antonio to support San Marcos, all you Rattler fans, be careful driving. They are 5:30 on that start time, and they're there at the Northside ISD complex. San Marcos will be going first at 5:30. and they are taking on that San Antonio Warren team. And then second up is Stony Point taking on San Antonio Brennan. And if they win, they would play each other, Zay, and it's a pretty quick turnaround. 2:00 tip tomorrow. I'm assuming at the same place for a trip to the Final Four, but that's a quick turnaround there. So Coach Thompson's group, they've got to deal with that first game like you talked about yesterday. How do you watch it? How do you scout it? But how much do you pay attention to it? Because you haven't advanced yet. Focus on your game, and then it's going to be pretty late at night when you're done and you get up the next day and you go at 2:00.
It's going to be one of those games for Coach Thompson. He might, let's say they're up by 20 or so in the fourth quarter. I'm looking at my coaching staff and say, hey, let's order the pizzas right now so they could be ready when we get back to the hotel so we could eat and go to bed.
Right.
Just like that. Just like that. Because that's a quick turnaround, like you said, Chad. The scouting that they're going to have to do before the game and after the game. And again, you have to win. You still have to win. But the matchup that we all want to see is San Marcos versus Stony Point. You know, Malik Presley, the 4-star lefty, he could really go. Him versus Josiah Mosley. That's a big-time matchup.
Yeah.
And then they got a really good point guard in San Marcos. And we know Uzi Button, he's been a star for Stony Point all year long. So I'll continue to say, when you get to this time of the year, you need that go-to big man guy. They got that. You need a really, really good point guard. They got that. They have a ton of shooters around those guys like Short and Moran and John Eric Mosley could hit shots. They got defense and Zimmerman and Podis. So they got everything you want in a team that can win a state championship. But just like in March Madness, if you have a bad game, you could get got. Just like that.
No doubt.
Even though they've only lost one game of the year, the pressure's still on. I know Twan, he's still feeling that pressure, but like we talked to him before, he's going to have all the East Austin and then some on his side traveling down to San Antonio. They're going to have a good turnout there. And yeah, I expect them to come out of this and get to the Alamo Dome.
Best of luck to all those teams out there. If you missed our interview with Coach Thompson earlier this week, you can go to hornfm.com. Check it out right there on the front page. Also, if you go to FlexATX.com, FLXATX.com. You can also check out the interview that the guys got on the Wednesday Night Flex Show this week with Will Hammond and Alex Green of Hutto. They also talked to the Hutto football coach, and they also got those young men to give us some short videos, some thoughts. They were interviewing them, asking them about important people in their families and stuff like that, letting you know a little bit more about these guys. And those two, the quarterback and receiver, are going to be obviously a big part of what Hutto wants to do coming up in the 23 season. Those guys are seniors this year. So check out FLX ATX on your social media as well, and have a great time at those playoff games. Remember to send your videos in, send your pictures, and please travel safe to and from all those games, specifically if you're going to check out San Marcos and Stony Point. Hopefully we can get that matchup in the Elite Eight tomorrow. Flex segment every day at 1:30 for us. We got Where We At in Society with Zay coming right up. Then we'll talk to Jeff Ketchum at 2. Gary Patterson decides to step away from the Longhorns for at least a season. We'll talk to Ketch about that. Longhorns at the Combine. What does he think Bijan and Roshan are going to do on Sunday? And this basketball team getting ready for Kansas. That's all coming up on The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
It's a nice little groove there on a Friday. We hope you are having a good one. All right, Zay. Do I have a shot here?
I doubt it.
It's a great sound, though. Who is it?
The Meters.
I wasn't
Sissy Strut.
I wasn't coming up with that. It sounds familiar, though. That little...
They probably heard it on commercials.
Yeah,
Seen
maybe.
it in movies.
The Meters. What's it called? The Strut what?
Sissy Strut.
The Sissy Strut, all right. The Meters, Rainbow, Great White, and the Moody Blues have all been on the show today. We appreciate you being a part of it. If you missed our album swap discussion yesterday, top of hour 3, discussing the Raekwon album and the Janelle Monáe album. Next Thursday, we warn you, your parents will not want to be listening because Zay's going to have to tell you about Ice-T's Body Count album. I'm just warning you now. I'm going to be talking about a GZA record called Liquid Swords, and I'll be on the light side of the discussion. I'm just telling you now. Zay's going to be listening to a very intense record next week, and I hope he still wants to talk to me after he listens to it.
Yeah, I'm hyped. We'll see how it goes.
It's going to be crazy.
We'll see how it goes.
Oh, my God. I love that record so much because it took a lot back in the day to make both the rap and heavy metal worlds nervous at the same time. And that's one of those things that really, really did a good job of it. We'll get to that next week. Lots of football stuff to hit. 3 days away. Can you believe it, Longhorn fans? 3 days away from Texas spring practice. We'll get into some of those questions and issues. In fact, I want to hear from Zay as a Longhorn fan, some of the big things he's looking forward to for Monday. First, practices, first press conferences, first comments from Sark about this team. Somebody will ask Sark about Quinn Ewers' haircut, I'm sure, early on. We'll get into that at 2:30, and I'm sure we'll get into some of it at 2 with Jeff Ketchum of Orange Bloods. There's a lot of stuff going on, obviously with Longhorn basketball getting ready for Kansas, the Longhorns at the Combine, and all those things. And yes, of course, the season of spring football beginning on Monday. All right, let's get you a little where we at in society and see what Zay wants to talk about today.
Where are we at in society today?
All right, Zay, do I need to go to Twitter or what are we doing today?
Yeah, go to Twitter. We got a little two-parter for where we at today on this Friday, but they have to do with the same guy.
Okay.
Draymond Green.
Oh, goody.
4-time NBA champ. Played for Tom Izzo. Does great things for the Golden State Warriors. Has his own podcast, likes to talk. You see him with the Turner TNT crew from time to time. When he retires, he'll definitely have a job there.
Incidentally, happy birthday to him tomorrow.
Oh,
33 tomorrow.
33 for Draymond. There you go.
Yep.
So Draymond on his podcast said something that we got the audio to.
Oh, no.
And let's see, Chad, if you and the people listening agree or not.
Okay.
LeBron's the type of guy you play for free with. You feel me? We're living with the greatest athlete of all time. That's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I always ask the young guys, dinner with LeBron or $100 million? I have to see where their minds are. If they truly get it, picking LeBron's mind will take you farther in this league than any contract will.
Whoa. Hang on now. Hold on now. He goes up to, I love Draymond Green so much. I love him so much. He goes up to young players and he says, would you rather have $100 million or a dinner with LeBron? Is that right? Do I have
Yes,
that correct?
that's correct.
Man. I am a fan of both math and science, and there's too much math that could work against me on one of those. And there's more guaranteed math on the other side. I got to take that money.
Yeah.
I mean, I get his idea in a sense, but I can't control that part.
I don't even get that.
I can't control where he's going with all of that.
I don't even. The Johnson writing that Draymond Green is doing right now from a guy who didn't like LeBron. Remember, they got into it, 2016 finals, when Draymond got the tech and got kicked out and ended up missing game 6, and the Cavs end up winning 3 straight games, game 5, game 6, game 7 for Cleveland's only title.
Mm-hmm.
Draymond and LeBron weren't getting along. So it's weird how things have changed.
So
like
he circled all the way back around.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And then some. What are you talking about? I don't care what LeBron's done. For one, LeBron, he already said he's contradicting himself. So he says LeBron is the greatest athlete of all time. I ain't that. I'm coming in, hypothetically, I'm coming in second round, 42nd pick.
Right, I'm not that
guy. I don't
guy.
even know if I'm going to have a contract next year.
I'm not that guy.
And you telling me to turn down $100 million just to watch LeBron drink wine?
Yeah, that makes no.
And talk about how cool Adele is hanging out with Rich Paul, his boys.
That is a weird thought. Yeah, I don't. So I need to see where their head's at. All right, Draymond. He's such a weird dude.
Like he's lost his mind.
He is so bizarre.
There's nothing logical about that. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's Bill Gates. Shoots, man. If it was Jesus Christ, that $100 million. I'll see you when I see you, Jesus.
When you start that, would you rather have $100 million or, there better be something after that or? What's after the or? You know?
Yeah.
There's better be something.
Yeah. So I said it was a two-parter.
Okay.
Dylan Brooks, Memphis Grizzlies, kind of dirty man. He has a Bruce Bowen aura about him.
Okay.
He can shoot a little bit out of Oregon, but he's definitely
I remember them at Oregon,
He's definitely the dirty guy for the Memphis Grizzlies. He wore like a Stone Cold Steve Austin type fit earlier this week.
Oh, I did see that.
You saw that?
He looked good.
That was fire.
He looked pretty good.
I ain't gonna front. That was fire.
I'm not gonna get on a guy who's gonna throw a little bit of an homage to Stone Cold, so I like that.
Yeah. Now, the denim shorts, I probably would have went with the black, but hey, I'm not a millionaire. He is.
Yeah,
do your thing.
I would have completed the look, but you're right. A little more. If you're out in public as Stone Cold, maybe the jeans are the way to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So he said recently, I don't like Draymond at all.
Okay. All right.
I just don't like Golden State. I don't like anything to do with them. Draymond talks a lot. He gets away with a lot. His game is cool with Golden State. But if you put him anywhere else, you're not going to know who Draymond is. He plays with heart, plays hard, knows the ins and outs of their defense. I guess that's why they like him so much over there.
Oh, my. Now, I get that there are a lot of people that don't like Draymond for various reasons. He's going a little bit farther, isn't he? If he wasn't in Golden State, we wouldn't know who he is? Is it that extreme? Come on, Zay. He'd go from a 4-time champion and who he is right now, he'd go to a guy that's invisible and no one would know him. I think that's a little rude to Draymond.
It's disrespectful for sure, but I do think he wouldn't be the future Hall of Famer that he is if he didn't go to Golden State. Because Steph and Klay and the way they play in Steve Kerr's offense, which is basically a motion offense where Steph and Klay do whatever they want coming off screens and they just read their man the whole time. Now, Draymond has to make the right pass and he sets those screens and he's a hell of a defender, but Dylan Brooks ain't wrong on some ends.
Okay. So you're saying there's a specific quality to Draymond, but it works within their system.
Yeah.
So
like you remember Rodman for the Mavs, don't you?
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Okay, then.
I try not to.
It could have been like that. If he didn't play with Bad Boy Pistons and 3-peat 72-10 Bulls, Dennis Rodman was good and all, but...
Right, but that Dennis Rodman is also still well after the prime of Dennis Rodman.
Very washed then.
But, I mean, that's an interesting comment from Brooks. I think it's there's an extreme quality to that. I don't know if I don't quite go that far. You can tell he's going there when he says his game is cool. Yeah, that's not going to be a compliment for very much longer. And it wasn't. All right. 2 Draymond stories living up to his weirdness. That's well done.
Yo, there's a possibility that the Warriors, even though they're sitting at the 5th seed, we know how tight the West is right now, it could get moved around, and we might see that first-round matchup, Memphis, Golden State. Steph Curry comes back next week.
Is that right?
Uh-huh. And they already don't like each other. They got into it last year where Draymond got kicked out of the game in Memphis in one of the first few games. And then John Morant got hurt, and the rest was history. We know the Warriors won the championship. But, yeah, I like that rivalry. Grizzlies, Warriors. I think that's a good young rivalry. It's not going to last too long because I don't think Draymond has many years left. I don't think Steph does either. But for a couple of years, with what the Grizzlies and where they want to go. Joe Jackson Jr.,
Nah.
John Morant.
Yep.
They got some guys.
Speaking of the Grizzlies, do you see who they play tonight?
I do not.
It's a pretty good one. 9 o'clock ESPN. Memphis at Denver.
Ooh.
It's not bad.
Maybe a future Western Conference finale.
Not bad. Not bad. Ja and Joker getting together tonight. Memphis at Denver, if you want to check it out. And that's the 9 o'clock side of ESPN. The earlier side was supposed to be good when they scheduled it. 6:30 is the Nets at the Celtics. That was good.
Yeah.
It's not now.
Yeah. Yo,
Less good now.
if Draymond came to me and was like, Zay, what would you do? 100 million or LeBron for dinner? I'm taking the 100 million and I'm taking out LeBron for dinner. Bron, I got it. Bron, you good. I got it tonight. Trust me, I got it.
Both.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I feel like with one, you could get the other. Like LeBron's not dumb. He's a businessman. So if you making 100 million, that could benefit him in some way. So he's probably going to have at least lunch with you. It might not be dinner. Maybe eat lunch, an hour or so.
I give you a one-up. I would take the 100 million. I would take LeBron out to eat, and we'd go to Whataburger. I'd find out if LeBron is a French fry or onion ring guy, and I would find out if he loves those Whataburger shakes, and I would find out if he likes the sweet and spicy bacon burger as much as I do. That's what I would do.
He seems like a sweet and spicy bacon burger guy.
I think he could do that. I think he would do it. He probably loves to hit the drive-through for some taquitos if he can.
Yeah.
I always wonder what
That's good.
when guys like that grew up away from Whataburger, like because they travel so much, when they hit the Texas swing, do you think those guys flip out about Whataburger because they don't get it anywhere else? Like you can't have that in Ohio.
True.
So
Maybe.
which is where he's from, and I don't think they have him out in L.A.
I mean, LeBron doesn't have the best relationship with Texas, losing to the Spurs twice, losing to the Mavs, so maybe that wouldn't work out here.
Deep down, if LeBron thought Whataburger was better than In-N-Out, do you think he would tell us? Do you think would he say it in the barbershop?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think he would.
Maybe. That's a very big debate for a lot of people. Big. For the people out in his world, they don't want to hear that. The In-N-Out people do not want to hear about Whataburger right now. All right, there's some Where We At in Society with Zay. Always good to keep your eyes and ears on Draymond Green. It's always interesting, always dramatic in the NBA. Coming up, your 2 o'clock hour, Jeff Ketchum of Orange Bloods. We'll talk Combine. We'll talk Longhorn basketball. Longhorn spring practice begins on Monday, believe it or not. I'll get Zay's thoughts on that and why today matters at 2:30. Don't move. It's the Horn.
Chad and Zay.
All right, let's go hour number 3 on a Friday. 3-3 to be exact. 3-3-23. Hope you're having a good one. Hope everybody is safe and sound after last night. It got crazy for a lot of folks. Hopefully you did not have a tornado nearby. If you did, we hope you are all safe. We hope your house, fence, cars, tree limbs, all that is good. I know there's a lot of stuff depending on where you are, and I know a lot of people all around the area listen to us. We do appreciate that. It's Chad and Zay on a Friday. I'm Chad Hastings. He is Isaiah Collier, picking that special beat for you to start the third hour. What do you got, Zay?
Today is Lil Flip's birthday, so this is his classic 10-minute Kappa freestyle instrumental.
Little Flip, huh?
Lil Flipper,
You get on my
leprechaun.
You get on my metal songs for going too long, and this man's got a 10-minute instrumental?
Well, he's freestyling, so it's off the top of the dome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That makes it better for you?
yeah, a lot better. A lot better.
You're saying a pre-planned 5.5 minutes is worse than an unplanned 10. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, usually in the metal songs, you just hear the music. You don't really hear any lyrics. It just goes on. You've already been hearing the music. If it was somebody that was freestyling, I'm with it. Like if Joe Elliott had a 10-minute song where he's freestyling the whole time, that'd be dope.
I don't know what a 10-minute freestyle Joe Elliott would sound like. I really don't. I don't even want to know how to start thinking about that one. Lil Flip gets us started this hour with the great beat. All right. Apparently, we are not going to be talking to Jeff Ketchum of OrangeBloods.com. We'll just pull the curtain back. There are weeks where I text Jeff, and he says, "Yeah, I'm good," and then we talk to him. There are weeks where I will forget to text him, and we call him, and he's there.
He's there, yeah.
Then there are weeks like this where sometimes I will text, not hear back, but he's still there. And then sometimes I text, I don't hear back, and then we get to this point, and he's not there.
Yo, Orange Bloods is a machine. I'm surprised we get him.
Yeah, there's a lot going on over
There's
there.
a ton going on.
There's a lot going on, but we do like to catch up with him when we can. And there's a lot going on in the Longhorn world, so we will use this time. And I was going to do a little more of this at 2:30, but we'll dig into some Longhorn stuff here. We've been talking about the Combine, the guys yesterday, and by the way, they're just going to get getting started right now in this 2 o'clock hour. And oh, if you love the freaky days at the Combine, the first two. I know the rest of it matters because it's quarterbacks and wide receivers and tight ends tomorrow, and it's running backs on Sunday, including an O-lineman, including Bijan and Roshan, and we'll talk about them. But, Zay, these first 2 days are so crazy freaky. You start with D-line and linebackers. Just the versatility we saw yesterday. All those different guys. We talked about Nolan Smith earlier, but let's give love to this Kalijah Cansey guy from Pitt, the D tackle that they're making Aaron Donald comparisons to because they both went to Pitt and they're about the same size and they're about as freaky as each other. He ran a 4.67 40, hauling 281 pounds around.
Damn.
6'1", 281, just slightly faster than what Aaron Donald did.
Yeah, pretty
That's
incredible.
crazy. Nolan Smith, we mentioned earlier, that 4.39 is better than Saquon Barkley ran at the Combine.
Stop it.
He's an edge rusher. It's the best 40 from a defensive lineman. It's, the second best 40 they've had since like 2003.
And he hasn't
That's
had
like-
much time to train due to him being injured.
Right.
That's so incredible.
He is just that good.
I don't know what's more incredible, that or the fact that he didn't play in the last half of the season. And
Right.
they beat the brakes off TCU 65-7 in the national championship game. Without somebody like that obviously changes games.
Yeah, they
And it's
smashed
going to get
him.
selected like first round.
Yeah, what's the score if he plays?
They
Like
don't score.
100-7?
Yeah, they don't score.
My God. Also, I thought this was an interesting story. Will McDonald, the fourth from Iowa State, that their edge rusher, 6'4", 239. He had the flu on Tuesday, 104 fever.
Damn, that's like bedridden stuff.
He recovers enough not to run the 40 because we can understand how he might feel pretty down after that. But he had a 36-inch vert and broad jumped 11 feet.
These dudes.
11 feet. If you haven't seen that, watch that. It's silly when they get out that far.
They're just getting faster and stronger.
My God. And then, Zay, there's a couple guys from Auburn that were really good yesterday, and one of them was Owen Pappoe, Pappoe, linebacker from Auburn, 6 foot and a fourth, 225, and he ran a 4.39.
Yeah, he showed out yesterday.
Wow. So just to give everybody the idea there, Nolan Smith, and he ran the exact same 40 time, and Smith is carrying 13 more pounds, just in case y'all need to know.
Stupid.
Just in case you're trying to understand why everybody's talking about Nolan Smith. So we also talked about the Longhorns, DeMarvion Overshown, Keandre Coburn, and Moro Ojimo, who I thought all looked good, all through impressive numbers out there. And I don't think any of them hurt their draft stock. We've certainly discussed those guys. You got Bijan and Roschon coming up on Sunday. So is disappointment watching for you, Zay? Not only as a fan of the football freakiness, you said you're kind of a sucker for the combine, but on Sunday, like, are you going to watch? You take pride as a Longhorn fan and watch your running backs go at it?
Absolutely. Yeah, we know Bijan and what he can do and what we expect him to do, but I want to see what Roschon Johnson does because NFL scouts, they're probably wondering about his usage and the fact that he just didn't get as many touches. We saw, when he got the ball and he was very productive there, but he wasn't the main back. It was Bijan Robinson. So all these defensive teams, they came in on the scout report to stop him first. And so I think Bijan Robinson's going to surprise a lot of guys with his measurements. I mean, he's huge. And especially with his IQ, being a quarterback and just understanding the game, I think he's going to get a lot of GMs in that aspect. So, yeah, I'm very excited about both of those guys, and I think they're going to both have hella careers to when they get into the 30s, maybe still be able to play, which for running back nowadays, that's not even an option. But for those two guys, I could see it.
Yeah, I like them both for, this version of the NFL, the versatility that running backs are showing. And we're not seeing as many teams, even when you are a team that does commit yourself to the run, an Eagles, Niners, whatever, we're not seeing one running back get destroyed anymore. We're not seeing one guy get just, hammer him and 25 and 30.
Yeah, like how Shanahan did Terrell Davis.
You're there, right? Like Shanahan, exactly.
Yeah,
that would have been Mike Shanahan doing that to Terrell Davis.
Yeah,
including the moment was it the Super Bowl when Terrell was having the migraine, said he couldn't see.
Stop it.
That's a crazy story. Mike Shanahan is about to send him in, and he says I think Super Bowl 32 against the Packers, and Terrell's like, "Man, coach, I'm having one of the migraines. I can't see." And Mike says, "I don't need you to see. I just need them to see you," because he was the decoy. He said, "I need you to be a decoy. It won't work if you're not in there." They send Terrell Davis in the game. He's got a migraine going on, and he literally cannot see, but it worked because it was like a little bootleg with Elway. So they had to have him as the decoy, and it did work. That's how much Mike Shanahan used him.
Shanahan went Bucky Gobbo with Ricky Williams, or Ricky was coming to the sideline and said, "Hey, coach, I don't know where I'm at." Buck said, "It don't matter. Get us 10 more yards."
Yes, and except he didn't actually hand him the ball. Right, Shanahan didn't actually hand him the ball after that. But, that was – it's that. But I'm glad for these guys that, there's a little more versatility in it now. And we talked about Deuce Vaughn last hour. Where does a guy like that even fit into this NFL? It's going to be fun to watch the running backs.
I just saw Deuce Vaughn in the commercial over your shoulder, chat, for that what are they promoting? And know something. It'll come back up. But he was a commercial training and stuff. He looks for real.
Yeah?
He looks for real. I know it's just a commercial. And obviously, they're going to get the good shots and stuff. But he looks ready. He looks NFL ready.
Wonder how many reps for Deuce Vaughn. Something else that hit me earlier today is like, wonder how many times is he going to throw up 225?
His arms aren't long, so he doesn't have much to go when he pushes up. So that helps him out.
Weighing 170-something maybe, whatever that number is going to be. Let's say it's 180, whatever. Like, what's he going to do in terms of the reps? We'll figure that out on Sunday and have all those numbers for you on Monday when we get back. Going to be a lot of discussion there.
You know who just looked freaky last night? And he did pretty good. I mean, what we expect from him. Will Anderson.
Oh, my God. He looked great.
Yo.
Yep. Looked great.
Insane physique. Like, wow. You get why he was the best defensive player these last few years in all of college football.
Yeah, effortless movement. Just everything he does looks easy. He makes it look simple. And then all the reporting that they did from him, all his interviews apparently are just like blowing him away because he's saying, he'll work with any system. He will change himself for whatever NFL
4-3, 3-4, it don't matter.
I'll do whatever I'll do what you need me to do. I will fit into your team. And I thought, that sounds like a Nick Saban defensive player, right?
Yeah.
It just sounds perfect. You wonder why they keep pumping those guys out. Yeah, Will Anderson will be gone very early in the draft, no matter what happens with Jalen Carter. And not really a development on the Jalen Carter story. He answered all the questions yesterday. I haven't heard really any update to that story.
Neither have
Waking
I.
up this morning.
Neither have I. So
yeah,
he wasn't going to work out anyway, so I guess there's not much to take from it.
Yeah, there were definitely enough freaks to show off without Jalen Carter, but he did answer those questions, and the teams continue to ask the questions of the quarterbacks throughout today and tomorrow, and it's the DBs that are getting after it today in the workouts. Tomorrow, quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends. All right, once the other thing that'll be happening when we get back on Monday, spring practice will be officially underway for Texas. We're 3 days away from that. It looks like there will be some availabilities for the media early next week, and if we can bring one of those to you live on the air, we will certainly do that. So stay tuned for all of that. Zay, as a Longhorn fan, what are you excited about on Monday? What are some of the first things you want to hear about from practice? Where's your focus as we get into spring practice for Texas?
Just Quinn Ewers and his relationship with these wide receivers, these new wide receivers, where Isaiah Nayor maybe is, if he's able to get on the field just a little bit. But yeah, because like I said yesterday, and with talking to Jeff Howe and stuff, we know the wide receiver group, they have to be better with losing Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson. Whether, Cedric Baxter Jr. is going to come in and start immediately, or Keelan Robinson has a bigger role to Jonathan Brooks and his hernia healing, Jaden Blue, still got Savion Red there. We know they're going to take a step back no matter what. So that means the wide receiver group and the quarterbacks, they have to take a step forward. So knowing Malik Murphy and Arch Manning are right behind you, and that pressure is going to be on you. And most likely, the way Quinn Ewers wanted his career to go, we know it's always been about getting to the league. That's what it's been. He left South Lake Carroll early to go to Ohio State to get that NIL, and it's just been about how do we get to the league as quick as possible so we could have a big-time career there. This is it. This is the season. He's eligible for next year's draft, 2024. So hopefully, and we know with the fresh cut, we see a certain maturity and a certain focus, even though it's small and whatnot, and he might not have as many NIL deals / commercials in the future. I like that of him being locked in. So coming into spring practice, all those young guys like Moore and Jonte Cook, how are they going to look? Jordan Whittington back for a new season. That's going to allow Xavier Worthy and guys like that, A.D. Mitchell, which allows Xavier Worthy to get more open and have better opportunities than he did last year. And, yeah, we know Steve Sarkisian's play calling obviously has to be better. But, yeah, just Quinn Ewers, his maturity level coming into this year, spring football, hopefully it's there and better than what it was last year, because we know I don't think he obviously wasn't ready to be the leader of the team as a freshman. We saw him on the sidelines at times, not really talking to guys, and we know his face when things go wrong. It's not good. Right. So those types of things, just being more upbeat, being more of a leader, vocal leader as a quarterback in year number 2, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, are they all going to follow him? Are they all going to follow his vibe? What's the vibe he's putting out? Are they going to follow that? And as you're talking through the receivers and stuff there, I keep thinking, and I'm not trying to disparage anybody else that he'll be throwing to, the idea that what we've seen out of Jonte Cook already and Jordan Whittington are on the same football team, That's incredible to me. And it does speak to what Jeff Howe was talking to us about yesterday. Patience, taking what they give you, not always taking that deep, long shot all the time. And Xavier Worthy could be a part of kind of the shorter mid-range passing game too. But I would love to know, like, what's the first thing we hear about Jonte Cook? What are the first reports we hear about Jonte? What about Wisner? Another one of the young guys. Defensive side. Not Anthony Cook. What's his name? What's the young man's name?
Hill.
Hill. Thank you. Anthony Hill, the linebacker. What are those first little stories, the spark that we start to hear out of guys like that? I think those are things that always excite fans. If you know you brought in freshmen that are that badass, that the reports start coming in and go, fellas, I don't think they're going to be able to cover Jonte Cook. That kind of momentum can get going really quickly, and hopefully Quinn Ewers can, bring all that together. And you also talked about running backs there. That's going to be critical with what we'll see this weekend that's leaving. They have got to figure that part out on some level of who's going to really step up there, because there's not a lot they can count on right now, running back wise.
No, there's not. And hopefully Cedric Baxter, he's been in the books. He's been in the playbook to where, he could show his talent. I mean, he's the best running back coming out of high school. So there's something there. I think we were just so spoiled with Bijan Robinson that anything less than that, with the lack of success that we expect, the lack of success that we need down here on the 40 acres. And you see teams like TCU and Kendre Miller, like Kendre Miller ain't nothing to what Bijan Robinson is. But you could argue that his year was better. He wasn't Doak Walker Award winner, but
that offense certainly felt better a lot of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
And the talent that Quinn Ewers has is above a Max Duggan. So you just said Jordan Whittington and Jonte Cook and Xavier Worthy and all those guys, they're going to be able to eat. I still don't know the Isaiah Nayor thing. Hopefully they don't rush him back. That's why you have DeAndre Moore, A.D. Mitchell.
I was going to say A.D. Mitchell, somebody I didn't even mention just then.
You have guys like that, but man, the offensive line, that's comforting. All those guys coming back. Christian Jones back for a 6th year on the right side. Kelvin Banks being the All-American type guy he is in the second season.
Enjoy that as long as you can.
Yeah, we got 2 more years. That's
I was about to say, you got a couple more.
Yeah, I was like, at least let's get him to the SEC, at least, because we need all of that in the SEC.
He'll get 1 year.
He'll get 1 year. So let's at least one. I could deal with that and then go be a top 5 pick like we know he's probably going to be the way that this pace is going here at Texas. But yeah, so many questions, man. I'm not going to renege. This is the same squad that I expect to get to Arlington. The same one. Okay. You should be right there with the schedule, how it is. BYU, U of H, that ain't too bad. You got that right after Oklahoma. You got the bye.
Uh-huh.
Everything lines up solid. We don't know who's going to be that TCU team, that's a surprising team. That could be anybody, but why not us? Why not us? All you got coming back, all the starters except for Bijan, why not us?
You're still Arlington or bust?
Or bust. Hell yeah.
There it is. Longhorn spring football starting in 3 days. Spring game is 43 days away. If you haven't circled April 15th on your calendar, that is spring day game for you. Spring game day. There it is. 1 o'clock is the kickoff time, and I think it's 9 a.m. They're going to open up Bevo Boulevard, give you that taste of Bevo Boulevard down there right near the stadium. We'll hope for good weather on April the 15th. Coming up next, it's Why Today Matters on this March the 3rd, and we'll hit a little bit of the 4th. Some big-time athletes have birthdays today. We'll discuss some of those, plus we got a couple other things to hit. It is March the 3rd. We'll tell you why it matters to us and get you set up for that late night baseball. Longhorns at Cal State Fullerton. We'll remind you of that start time next on the Horn.
Chad and Zay.
Oh, this is fantastic. Not only is it a great song, but I get 2 mentions early on.
Oh, man.
I mean, that helps, right?
Yeah, that helps.
Just helps me out. A great beat, great little hook there. So Warren G.
That's right.
Has been mentioned clearly. Anybody else of note on this track?
Yeah.
Is this a?
Can't believe.
Now I know Warren G. has done work with Dr. Dre and Snoop at times.
Right. Damn, what's next? He kills
See
this.
that other voice I did not know. Wait, who's the other one?
Oh, come on. Listen.
Oh, the hell.
I can't believe it's happening in my own town. All right, here he goes again. Oh, I ain't giving you the hit that time.
No,
I ain't giving you the hit that time. You gotta figure this out. You gotta figure this out.
Man, I don't. Warren G. and
Oh, this hurts.
hang on.
You've been really good with this guy too. You usually get him.
Is it Nate Dogg?
There he is.
There we go. Okay.
It took you a while.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you almost dribbled out the shot clock there.
Did I go Marcus Carr on you?
Yeah. Come on, let's get a shot up.
Let's
get a shot up.
Let's go. Warren G. and Nate Dogg. There we go. Okay. I just have my dogs crossed.
Yeah.
You know, I knew I hear Warren G. and sometimes I thought of another dog, but I got to the right dog eventually.
Yo, that's a top 5 West Coast classic. Like California Love, the Chronic album songs. Ain't nothing but a G thing. Today is a good day. Regulate, all those songs right
so
there.
Is that song called Regulators?
Yeah.
Okay.
Regulate.
Okay. Warren G. and Nate Dogg, The Meters earlier in the show. Rainbow, Great White, The Moody Blues. We had a little flip beat to start the hour, a 10-minute instrumental little flip beat because there's a 10-minute freestyle, which Zay does endorse. He does not endorse 5.5-minute heavy metal songs, though.
Yo, little
because they're too planned out.
Flip was known as the freestyle king, Mike, back in the day.
He literally went 10 minutes of freestyle?
Oh, yeah. He would do that all the time.
That's awesome.
Him and DJ Scrooge throw the beat on, Flip would go off. Now, he would repeat himself all the time. Like, he, riding.
They call that the chorus, man.
Yeah, like riding down Cloverland looking clean with the Byzantine. Like, he would say that a lot. He would come back. Yeah.
Something you could count on. It's
a leprechaun, a legend.
Something you could count on. That's what you look for. All right. We want to thank the 763 subscribers we have right now on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/@thehornatx. Thanks to 763. Whoever you are out there that became the 763rd subscriber, go subscribe so you don't miss anything on the YouTube page. You can check out hornfm.com as well. Excuse me. I promise I haven't been drinking, but it does sound like I have. The interview we did with Coach Thompson of Stony Point is up at hornfm.com. And we also reminded you earlier, check out flexatx.com for some of that stuff from the Wednesday Night Flex this week with the Hutto crew, the quarterback, the receiver, and the head coach. We're all on. So we appreciate all your support across the Austin Radio Network. Lots of stuff going on tonight, including Texas baseball at Cal State Fullerton. 8 o'clock tonight on that one. If you're a Texas softball fan, they've got a 4:30 and a 7 tonight as they start the weekend with a little doubleheader. Basketball-wise, Kansas tomorrow for the men at 3. Kansas State for the women's team. They're at K-State for a 4 o'clock tip. And you'll hear that one over on 105.3 The Bat. All right, it is March 3rd. Let's get into a little bit of why today matters, shall we? All right. A few things going on this Friday, and we were just talking some music. So happy birthday to Tone Loc today, 57.
Funky Cole Medina.
Where does that kind of stuff fall for you? Does that end up being a little too novelty, and he doesn't really get like long-term credit for that?
Yeah, he's like with the Will Smiths and
Oh, wow.
guys like that.
Okay.
Don't say wow, like it's just Will Smith's a legend in his own way, like Hammer, Tone Loc, guys like that. Kind of Run DMC for me.
Legends of clean rap?
Yeah.
Clean, safer rap?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
What was Tone Loc's other jam? It was Funky Cole Medina, and what was the other one?
Wild Thing.
That's it.
Which at one point was the most successful single of all time.
Really?
It was that big. That thing went crazy.
Wow Thing.
Yeah.
Went
Went nuts. Happy birthday to Tone Loc. We also have all kinds of great athletes with birthdays today, and one of them is a current NBA player, and I want to get Zay's thoughts on just how good is he. It's his birthday today. Where does Zay rank him on the all-time, not all-time, on the current best NBA player list? We'll get to him. Let's start with Jackie Joyner-Kersee, 61 today.
Okay.
Kind of an athlete.
A little bit.
This is one I didn't know. Old school on Jackie Joyner. I forgot this one.
I definitely don't know that.
Big time school, though. UCLA.
Huh.
She ran track and played basketball because, athlete. 61 today for her. Same exact age for Herschel Walker. I know there are some other things we could discuss with Herschel, but in terms of the athletic part, the man's a badass. 61 years old today. Of course, the old school is Georgia. Hope Herschel is doing well today and feeling well today. He's been through a lot.
Is Herschel the governor or mayor? Did he win?
I don't believe he did.
Okay.
I do not believe he did. If you are following politics closer than I am, please let us know if I'm wrong on that. It is also Santonio Holmes' birthday today, 39 years old for Santonio. Of course, he went to Ohio State, and I will still argue he made, for the moment, the greatest, most important, most impactful catch in the history of the Super Bowl.
What a catch.
I don't think anybody else has ever made one that meant that much and was that tough all at once. That was an incredible play. It still kind of haunts me because I was rooting for the Cardinals to win the game.
Yeah.
But
Damn, against your wife?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's wrong with you?
What are you talking about?
Do you not want to see your woman happy? Her happiness? Happy wife, happy life? Do you not know that saying?
Look, she's married to me. She's happy enough. Plus, if they had lost the game, they wouldn't have had 6 of the dang things. Now I got to listen to that all the time. That was their 6th. 6 of them.
Yeah.
I didn't want
That's
that.
a lot.
What a hell of a catch, though. God, it was amazing.
Big Ben thought he overthrew him.
Yeah, I would have too. I mean, that was an amazing play. It's just silly. When I got a chance to go to that stadium in Tampa and do the tour and stood right next to that spot and just sort of took that moment in. Like, that's where Santonio Holmes made that catch. It's still, to me, the greatest catch in a Super Bowl ever. So happy birthday to him. All right, here's the NBA, guys, Zay. Today is the 25th birthday of Jason Tatum. If I asked you just to rank the best players in the NBA for you right now, how far down your list is Jason Tatum?
He's top 5.
Okay.
He's top 5. Yeah.
That's what I would have assumed.
He gets better every year. He was a steal at number 3 for the Celtics because they were already good, and that was the year they got Kyrie, and they were young, but his rookie year, he was a big part of the reason they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. They were 1 game away, that Game 7 where he dunked on LeBron James from getting to the NBA Finals. And he's just gotten better and better each and every year, a lot stronger. And last year, there was a point in time, the first few months of the 2022 season, where you didn't think him and Jaylen Brown, it would work. And people up in that New England area, they were kind of saying they should break up one of these guys, which it would obviously be Jaylen Brown because he's not as good as Tatum, but they figured it out, made a really good run, and got themselves to the finals and just ran to 3 future Hall of Famers, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green. So I can't wait to see what happens in the Eastern Conference Finals. We talk about the West, which we should, because from 3 to 13, it's thick. But in the East, with the Bucks winning like 16 in a row, and then the Celtics doing what they're doing, the addition of Malcolm Brogdon, they expect to get right back to the NBA Finals, but they beat the Bucks last year in Game 7. of the playoffs. And I know the Bucks, they were feeling that, and a lot of that had to do with Chris Middleton missing games, which he's still missing games.
Yeah.
So that's a problem there.
And they're still winning.
They're still winning without him.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday, he's an all-star this year. He wasn't last year. He took a step in his performance. But Jason Tatum, he's so smooth. You know, he reminds you of Grant Hill just because of the Duke thing. And, well, obviously they're light-skinned too. But he just has a smoothness about him, and he has a dog about him. He's around 6'9". I told you yesterday about the story of Coach K talking, questioning his toughness and saying, he's just a soft St. Louis kid.
Knew how to dial him up.
Knew how to dial him up.
Yeah.
So he's real prideful of his city, and he had 41 the other night. It couldn't have been an easier 41. So, yeah, I think he's one of the faces of the league, and he's top 5 for me for sure.
They will play tonight at 6:30 on his birthday, and then as I mentioned, Grizzlies Nuggets tonight. If you want to peek in on some NBA, Grizzlies Nuggets might be the best thing you get all weekend. 9 o'clock tonight on ESPN. I'll admit I haven't checked the weekend schedule, but those two teams are playing really well right now. You've got what you just talked about at the top of the East, this kind of stuff at the top of the West. I'm one of the few NBA fans that would tell you I kind of like the play-in idea because it actually makes me care about.
I love it.
It makes me care about 7, 8, 9, 10 when I used to not care.
I love it.
I kind of like that as well. So yeah, this is that time of year where the energy starts to build around the NBA. In addition to obviously all the college basketball.
Yeah, Denver, people aren't sold on them, which I get it. They haven't really proven anything. They got to the Western Conference Finals in the bubble when Jamal Murray was like dropping 50 in games and stuff. So nobody gives anyone credit for the bubble. Everybody thinks the Lakers championship, that don't count because it was in the bubble and there aren't fans and stuff. Okay, let's ask the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if that 2020 ring counts when they went to Lambeau Field and nobody was in the stadium. We still count that for Tom Brady's rings, don't we?
That's a yes.
Yeah.
That's a yes, by the way.
Exactly. So
yes.
I think we should need to count the bubble too.
Of course. Yeah.
But
because there's a different layer of challenge to that.
Yeah.
Going away and being away from everybody and going through all the grind of that thing.
Just say you hate LeBron and you hated success. Just really say that, people.
Or you can't stand Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and the Lakers.
Yeah.
They could be
or
like
the Lakers. Yeah.
Be like you with the Lakers, how you were with the Steelers, just hating because they're winning more rings than your Cowboys and stuff.
There you go.
But Nikola Jokic, he's going to win his 3rd MVP this year, which is ridiculous. The last time a person went back-to-back in MVPs was Bird, 84 through 86. So that should show you something there. Jamal Murray, he looks like he's getting back to that form before he tore his ACL. Michael Porter Jr., him at 6'10", being able to stretch the floor and do multiple things. They're really good. They're really good, but we know in the playoffs, it's a different game than the regular season. Things get a little bit tighter. The defense, you can focus on that more. You got to have a lot of good mid-range shooters to keep on advancing, and they don't necessarily have that. They could give it to Joker and let him do his thing, but a lot of the calls that he gets now, he ain't going to get in the playoffs. So I'm going to be curious to see how he performs, but hey, they're leading the West right now. It looks like they could get to the Western Conference Finals and do some things. And again, Joker going to win his 3rd MVP. I like them. They're fun to watch.
Yep, they'll be on tonight against Memphis. Speaking of fun to watch, those two going at each other should be a lot of fun. So there's a lot of choices for you this weekend with basketball, college basketball, of course, Longhorns and Kansas over at the Moody Center. 3 o'clock tomorrow. Can the Longhorns get a little momentum back headed towards Kansas City? And can they keep that record at the Moody to the number and 1 by the end of the year? What would it be, 16-1 if they get the win?
I think 17-1.
17-1 if they get the win. Even if they end up 16-2, it'd be nice, but losing 3 in a row to finish the regular season, Zay, that would not be good. You said it earlier. This is the first back-to-back loss they've had all year.
Yeah.
Now you got to clean that thing up. You got to send these people out at the Moody Center with the right vibe. You got to send your seniors off with the right vibe. But most importantly, you have got to get something going before you get to Kansas City. You can have one of those weird games in a Big 12 tournament to head towards the tournament. But to me, this is critical stuff. You got to protect your home floor one more time and get a good feeling back on your side.
Yeah, and you need your best players to play well. As of late, Marcus Carr and Timmy Allen, they haven't played well against TCU and Baylor, and they got to come on with it. I mean, this is the time of the year you need to play your best basketball. You don't want to be a first round out. It's going to be senior day tomorrow. This is the last time you're going to be able to play with these guys at the Moon, and this is it. This is the final run. And for as well as they've played throughout the season, it would be very disappointing for them to lose 3 straight and then go out early in the tournament. That'd be horrible. I love Coach Terry. I want him to get the job, but I would definitely understand if he didn't get it, why he won it if they lose like the next
Yeah.
3 games, because they could lose 5 straight and that'd be it. That'd be it.
That'd be tough.
Like that. Technically, there might be only 3 games left of the season for this men's basketball team, if we want to look at it.
Right.
Whether they win tomorrow or not, they can get bounced out early Big 12 Big 12 tournament, and then bounced out early in Madness tournament.
Man, keep a good thought there, Zay.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Why are you bringing realism to a March Madness discussion? Come on now.
No,
you're right. That could be. It could be as. It can happen that fast. It is about survive and advance, and when you don't do either one of those things, it ends so quickly.
Yeah, I'm loyal to Texas, but when it comes to my bracket, I ain't. I'm sorry, can't do that. Y'all broken my heart way too many times. When Northern Iowa's hitting half-court shots for game, you remember that March Madness game?
Yes.
How brutal was that?
Oh my God!
I don't need those times. I need early 2000s, Final Four, TJ Ford days, Elite Eight, DJ Augustine days. Those are the times I like.
So you're saying when it comes to basketball, to paraphrase Wu-Tang, you're about Bream. Brackets rules everything around you? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, my. Let's just go to break after that one.
There you go. Maybe the worst dad joke of the month, and it's just March 3rd. Up next, Stems and Seeds. Couple of notes for you, including, hey, UFC fans, just how much did John Jones weigh today? How much weight's he putting on? He used to be at 205. Where is he for the fight tomorrow night? I will tell you next on The Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk Apple leasing. Any make, any model, any car, any truck. That's what Apple leasing is all about, and they're about making it as simple as they can for you with the easy lease that they've got. It's so much simpler than all those other leases that are out there. So much easier to figure out than the buying process that sometimes goes on, where at the end of everything, you are trying to pay to keep things going, and there's so many expenses at the end of it. And with Apple leasing, you're always going to feel like you're driving that new car. You're going to be paying for the part of the car that you're using. And with the easy lease system, there are options throughout. You can ask all those questions. What if I want to change? Or what if I wanted to upgrade? What if I wanted to do this halfway through the lease? They'll talk to you about all of that. Just call 346-9977. 346-9977, and you'll talk to them. You'll go through that process. You'll sign everything electronically, so you're not wasting time there. And most importantly, they get you the same discounts and incentives that the dealers do. They get those savings passed on to you. So if you're looking at 3 or 4 different brands, 3 or 4 different makes, then you're going to be able. They're going to go to all those different dealerships for you, get those contacts, get the information, get you all those options, so you can make the best choice. And they're going to save you all kinds of time and money. 346-9977, or go to appleleasing.com.
Chad and Zay.
All right, rolling through this Friday, just about done. See, now you're going extra testing on me, right? Because I'm going to know one of them. I got to figure out the other guy.
Right.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
I'll
give you a hint.
Who is that?
I'll give you a hint.
I feel
You
like I
definitely
should
know
know
who
it.
Yes. Where have you heard that voice from? He's more popular on TV than he is a rapper now, but he raps.
Okay. And he's still with us. Yes, still
Yeah,
alive.
still alive.
Okay. Wait, hold on. That's oh my God.
I know you see it.
Yes, there it is.
You see the fro.
Yes, the fro, the white guy. He's
Yep.
on a Little Dicky.
Lil Dicky.
There it is. Woo! Oh my goodness. My goodness.
Yeah, I thought he was going to give it away when he said Dave at the beginning of the
Snoop
song.
Dogg. And okay, so this is a legitimate, is a track on a Little Dicky album?
Yeah.
Okay. Little Dicky and Snoop Dogg. What do you make of Little Dicky? What do you make of the whole thing?
He's cool.
Yeah?
He's a cool guy.
He has respect in the business?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's
I mean, he has a song with Snoop. Come on.
dude, the show's kind of weird at times because they don't know. It's almost like they're trying to joke on him a lot, and then every once in a while they let him go. And they let him really tear off on something, and you realize, oh, okay, so he's really good.
Right.
But then they try to figure out how to make jokes about it sometimes.
Yeah, I love Dave. I think it's a hilarious show.
It is a really good show. Is it back yet? Are they still rolling with that thing?
I think they're just season 2. I don't know
They're
if they're
maybe done?
gonna make a season 3. They should.
Maybe done with it. They should. I'd watch that again. It's a good show. Little Dicky and Snoop Dogg finishing off today. How about that? Warren G and Nate Dogg. A lot of dogs in the we're dog people. Zay and I are both dog people. Yeah. The Meters, Rainbow, Great White, and the Moody Blues. All a part of the show today. Little flip with that beat as well. Hey, there's Snoop Dogg right there, too. Stems and Seeds, brought to you by AV Consultations. 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. The answer to the question, UFC fans, is 248 for John Jones. Fans are talking about where there's a little more fat than there used to be. Not the typical six-pack when he was at 205, but apparently the arms and chest look a little bigger, too. He added 43 pounds from the last time he fought for the light heavyweight title.
All legal, right? All good weight.
I hope so.
Not the juice.
It's John, so I have to say,
yeah, that's why I
hope
have to
so.
ask.
He's at 248. Cyril Gahn was at 247.5, so they're right there at just about the same weight for tomorrow night's UFC 285 main event. Shevchenko is also on that card. She is tremendous. Those two, to me, are worth the price of admission. And yes, I'll be grabbing that pay-per-view to check out tomorrow night. Lots of options out there, including the Combine. They are just getting that going this hour. Can't wait to get home and check out the defensive backs. That's what's happening today. Zay, again, Antonio Johnson of A&M. I want you to check him out. Let me know how good you think he could be.
I got you.
There are some that believe he's the